Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Got a good show today, folks. Jessica Freeberg is on the way in just a little while with Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. But first, our show today has to do with a particularly scary time I know in my childhood. I don't know about yours, but I remember a time back in the early 1980s. A time, let me tell you kids, I'm a little bit older than you, when you could go and you could purchase an over-the-counter medication, and it wouldn't have that little seal on it, that little protection seal, where you would have to peel that off before you could get your medication, before you took the cotton out of the bottle and then got to your medication. You could just rip that sucker open, take your pills, and then you were good to go, right? Oh, those were the old days, kids.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. But there's a reason why we had that protection seal there. And my guest today, well, his father is the reason why we have that. As a matter of fact, there was something that happened with Tylenol back in the early 1980s. Tylenol had a scare, a poisoning scare, and it happened out of the Illinois area. There's a wonderful book out there, a scary book at that I had the pleasure of reading this weekend. It's called The TYLENOL Murders, A Father's Confession to His Son. Joseph Cibelli is my guest. And this book will absolutely chill you, folks. I tell you, if you have any issues or have had any issues with domestic abuse or personal abuse, anything like that, you will have to put this book down. It is a bit of a trigger warning. I had to put the book down a couple of times because it absolutely feels claustrophobic at times. When you start to read it, you go, oh my God. And you have to put it down because you don't know if any of the kids involved in this book are going to get out of this thing. You just don't know. It's that scary. Let me tell you a little bit about our guest. We'll bring him in here in just a moment. Joseph Cibelli is a former salon entrepreneur turned author, legal scholar, and forensic psychologist. After decades in the beauty industry, he pursued law school and earned a PhD in forensic psychology. He wrote The TYLENOL Murders, investigating a family confession, and the 1982 Chicago TYLENOL Murders in depth. Let's welcome in for the first time to True Crime Tuesday, Joseph Cibelli. Hello, my friend. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hello. It's great to be here. And thank you for having me. Your introduction was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. This book, Joe, let me tell you, man, wow. Where do I start? I'll tell you where I'll start. The sheer terror alone, I'll tell you, and I told you a little bit of this before we started rolling, was, here in Minnesota, where I am, we assumed that anything that happened nationally was going to happen to us, but especially the fact that in Illinois, you were so close to us regionally, that we assumed that because it was happening in Illinois, it was going to happen here in Minnesota. So I remember the sheer panic of the 7 deaths in Illinois, and thinking, and there was, of course, the strychnine poisoning in California as well. But I remember thinking, it's just a matter of time. And I remember having a bottle of Tylenol in our medicine cabinet and thinking, I shouldn't take that. And there's a scene in the book where you go to your own medicine cabinet and dump out 2 bottles of Tylenol.
Correct.
And will you tell our audience real quick what your thought was when you were dumping those out?
So at that point in the book, the murders had already happened and people were dying. And prior to that, throughout the book, I discussed some very strange excursions I went on with my father. And the very last of those, we got back to the house and we were walking up the steps. And I go into great detail about this. And my father looked me right in the face. And I was tall, so he didn't have to really bend down too much, but he just looked me right in the eyes. And he was probably about, I don't know, not even a foot from my face. And he said, if you tell anybody what went down today, I will kill you, I will kill your mother, and I will kill your brother and sister. And that was just a few days before people started dying. So at this point in my life, I'm 11, and I'm sitting with this, like thinking, okay, I always thought my father could easily kill people, and now he's put that threat out at me. And then just shortly after that is when people were dying. I mean, we didn't have a lot of news then. News was a choice. We didn't necessarily sit and watch news, but we knew what was going on. So there's a day, the reference that you're speaking of in the book, where I'm out riding my bike, and there was just a certain feeling of unsafe just permeated the air. Like things were not safe, like not safe in my own home and not safe in the world around me. And I was riding my bike, and I had this, I called it an epiphany, even though it's not really an epiphany, and I was 11. But I had this thought of like, oh my God, do we have Tylenol in our own cabinet?
Mm-hmm.
So I went back home, put my bike in the garage, came in, went right into the bathroom. And prior to this, my father had installed child-proof locks on all of our latches, like not very long prior to this. So I pulled on the medicine cabinet, the latch clicked in. So I had stick my hand in there, pop the latch open. And there was in the cabinet were 2 bottles of extra strength Tylenol. And like you had mentioned, there were no safety seals or anything. So they just sat there, and I popped them open, and I knew that they were new because the cotton was still in there. Mm-hmm. So I popped both of them open. Both of them were new, had the cotton in there, and I just proceeded to dump them all down the toilet. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, maybe I just saved my whole family. And then the thought was hitting me like, I know my father is capable of this. I watched him do some very strange things, which are documented in the book. And now I'm in our bathroom, and there's not just one, but there's 2 bottles of Tylenol sitting there just waiting. So my whole life, I have carried it with me that 1, I know that my father is capable of this. 2, I think he did it. And then something I really didn't cover in the book as much, I saved that more, and it may come out in another book in the future, but I do have a theory that he had put those bottles in there possibly to wipe somebody out in the house. And at that point, the only people old enough in our home to take Tylenol would have been myself, my father, and my mother.
Yeah.
So my father would know better not to take it. And then, I took Tylenol on a regular basis, if I got a headache or I hurt my arm or something. So then my mom would take it as well. So I've carried that in my head. Like, not only was he capable of this, but he did this. And I do think somewhere along the way, he had planned on wiping out the family as well. And if you look into psychology and you see like what a family annihilator is, I mean, he checks every single box of a family annihilator. And I do also believe that during this time when people were dying, and then if somebody in our family had passed as well, I think it would be just like another one, put it on the list with the other people. And, he would have accomplished what he wanted to do. The big thing, though, I feel, and I'm positive of this, that he did not think that people would have figured out it was the Tylenol as quickly as they did.
Yeah.
They figured out, there was a nurse named Helen Jensen in Arlington Heights who figured out on the second day that people were dying. She had gone to the house in Arlington Heights where 3 people died. Excuse me. And they were trying to figure out, is there a gas leak in this house? Why are these people dying in the house? Like, totally unexpectedly with no explanation. She started investigating around through the medicine cabinet, and she deduced it was the Tylenol. She popped the Tylenol open. She laid them out. She counted how many were in there. And then there were 6 that were missing. 3 people died. Each one must have taken 2. There you have it. So she just said, like, it's got to be the Tylenol. And that was when everything went into high gear. And I think that my father then was like, oh, they were not supposed to figure this out that quickly. So, yeah. And I talk in the story too, in the book, about how he had this, he had a lair, I called it, his workshop. And after they discovered that it was the Tylenol, my father went on a little cleaning spree in the lair. And I describe it in great detail. And he had a barrel full of papers and items that he burned. Yeah. And it was right after this. And, he was hiding the evidence.
Let's give a little bit of, let's backtrack a little bit here, and let's give a little bit of background about your father and why he was so meticulous and why he could cover his tracks for so very long. Your father served in Vietnam and was a military man. Can you give us a little bit of background about what his background was in the military?
Yes. My father joined the military in 1969. I over the years, my father told me several times about his military story, and I do go into it in the book where it's in great detail. So he went in 69. We were in Chicago. So he went to, it was called Fort Leonard Wood for his basic training. He would call it Fort Lost in the Woods, but it was Fort Leonard Wood. He went for basic training. And I did verify this. I was able to get his transcripts from the military, his records. So yes, he was in Fort Leonard Wood. And then from Fort Leonard Wood, he was supposed to, it was either Georgia or Alabama he was supposed to go to, but he ended up taking a little detour. So after basic training, his story was some people approached him and kind of brought him into an office, and they were like, we've got a job for you. So if you do this, we'll let you out of the military in 2 years as opposed to 3. So he was like, all right, I'll do it. And they were training him to be an assassin. So he went to Oakland, California. And in Oakland, he was trained in, get this, poison. He was trained how to make poison. In fact, my father talked a lot about making his own, what he would call a suicide pill, which was a cyanide pill. They taught him how to make that. They taught him snipering. So he was an expert rifleman. And then he learned explosive ordnance disposal, which is disarming bombs. And so a lot of that training happened in Oakland. And then he did end up back, I believe it was Alabama. And then he ended up in Maryland learning all that training. But what he told me about his time in Oakland was specifically the snipering. They taught him codes and ciphers, and they taught him how to make, these were his words, his own suicide pill. And in my father's words, he was a quote unquote trained assassin. So that's what he learned, and he went about his business. And then when he left to go to Vietnam, he got married to my mom, and they went to Okinawa. And when they left for Okinawa, my dad, I mean, he said this a million times. He's like, yep, I had your mom. I had nuclear codes in my back pocket. That put a target on my back. And he said, and I left with my own suicide pill in my pocket. And his story was, if he was ever captured by the Viet Cong, that he was supposed to give his name, rank, serial number, bite down on this cyanide pill, the suicide pill. And then his words were always, and it's lights out.
Whoa.
Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting because a lot of that is not in his records. The time from after Fort Leonard Wood until he went back to Alabama, it's redacted. I mean, there are pages and pages redacted. I knew his story from what he had told me, and then I was able to back it all up with his records, except for that time in 1969 when he was in Oakland. Like, that is completely redacted. There is nothing in there. It's pages of black with what he had been doing.
I have my grandfather and my great uncle, they had a month in Japan in World War II that's completely redacted as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
interesting.
Again, it's and my grandfather was one of the first frogmen in World War II. So special forces. So again, it's one of those things where, you know,
and they don't tend to want to talk about it. You know, my father never talked about this other than it was almost like when we were kids and we were growing up, he would tell us these stories, but it was kind of like, you know, nope. And I even put that in the book when he had told me this dark story about learning poisons. And at the end of that conversation, and this was very typical for him, he would say, oh yeah, you know that whole conversation we had? No, you don't. It didn't happen. I mean, that was very, very common in our house for a lot of things. Like, do you remember when you saw that? No, you didn't. Mm-hmm. You didn't see anything. So it was kind of a mystery. So I had talked to my mom about this because, I mean, I was interviewing so many people. I mean, I even had to interview my own mom without even at this point necessarily telling her what I'm looking at. So I asked her. I had gotten his military records. I had put this whole story together. I had my timeline together. And I just talked to my mom. I was like, can you tell me anything about, you know, Dad's military work? And she said, well, you know, he had told me one time, if I ever wanted to get his military records and see where he was at or what he was doing, I'd never find out because it's all redacted. So I found out that that's true. But what my mom confirmed, she told me, she said that she knew that he was trained in poisons, trained as a sniper, and trained with ordnance disposal. And so as we went through this, and as I had to kind of break this to my mother slowly, and she was not shocked at all. She told me, she said, you know what? She's like, I just feel like my whole life with him was a lie. And she said, he told me when he left the military, he left that life behind him. And, clearly he did not.
No.
So, I mean, she was telling me that through tears. And obviously she feels like her whole marriage to him was just a lie. So, he let her see what he wanted her to see. And then he kept us all under, I called it a reign of terror all the time. So, you never even knew what was coming at you, let alone have the ability to stand up and figure out things, because it was a constant chaotic scene in our house. And that was engineered, I feel.
There's something incredibly interesting in this book, Joe, that he took you, his oldest son, and he taught you codes. And he taught you some of these things. He taught you how to operate almost like he operated in the military. He was teaching you some of the things that he was taught.
Yes.
As an assassin. You learned how to shoot a gun.
Oh, yeah. To this day, I talked about it in the book, like shooting the silhouette on the target runner right in the crotch. And I tell you what, I've got a 9mm, and when I go practice with it, I 90% of the time hit that silhouette in the crotch. I don't know what it is, but that's right where it goes. So, I'll always be like, you know what? I'll change somebody from a rooster to a hen with one shot. Bam, off it goes. So, yeah, he taught me guns. He taught me a lot of things. He taught me how to kill somebody with a pen. He taught me, like I said, ciphers and codes. And I was about 8 years old, and he sat with me and taught me. He called it my name cipher. So we had created this name cipher, and I still have that. I have managed to somehow keep that over all these years. I had kept it, and then it got stuck in a book, and then it ended up in a box, and then it was in the attic, and then it ended up in the garage. But I have my name cipher. So yeah, he taught me some really strange things. And I talk about it in the book too, where he took me into the woods when we were stalking people in the woods.
Yeah.
And that was, I talk about one situation in the book, but that happened, I cannot even tell you how many times. And he taught my brother the exact same thing. Never us together. It was always separate. And he took me out in the woods, and we were kind of stalking this young couple. And we got down on the ground, and he had this blanket that he had called Itchy Brother. Why, I don't know, but the blanket's name was Itchy Brother. And then he had camouflage netting. And he put the netting over us, but this was the first time that he had the camouflage netting. And that was also in 1982, right before the murders. Honestly, off the top of my head, it was just a few weeks before the murders happened. And he, we stalked these people. They did not know we were there. And my father always taught us how to walk through the woods, how to be undetectable, blend in, look to your left, look to your right, look up, look down, look behind you. And he would always say, stick to the left. And I really don't understand what that means, but he was teaching us how to be kind of invisible, how to just blend right in so nobody knows you're even there. And then if you were going to attack, you've got the advantage to attack. And he's teaching this the first time I went on one of those with him, I was probably 8. He's teaching a young kid how to stalk people through the woods and attack, and then teaching me in the woods, this plant is poison, but it looks just like this plant, which is not poison. But you have to know the difference in case you ever, what he would say is need it. I don't know if that meant need it to survive and eat the one that's not poison, or if I needed to use the poison one for something. So he taught us all kinds of crazy stuff.
With that in mind, let me ask you this, Joe. So he's trying to build another one of him, but why is he doing this? Is it A, because he needs the companionship, because he needs someone to unload on, or 2, is he building a successor for when he's not here?
I have wrestled with that since, for 40 years or so, at least. I don't know. I honestly feel like there's a few things, and both things could actually be true. I feel like my father was the lone wolf type. He was not going to take other people that were, not in the family to learn these things. So like he learned this stuff, and he was teaching it to us. I think 1, because he needed to show all this to somebody. And 2, I think he needed a sidekick possibly. And, he did have us, my brother and myself, with him when he delivered the Tylenol bottles. And I broke that down in the book very, very, like almost minute by minute what was going on. And he had his kids with him. So I think this was his way of just teaching us and, well, hey, I got a sidekick now. And, one of the very first articles that I was interviewed for, it was I live in Sacramento, and it was a local journalist. So he came to my house and he had asked me, he's like, can I bring my girlfriend with me? She's really fascinated with this story. And she's a psychiatrist. And I have a PhD in forensic psychology, but, psychologists and psychiatrists are different. So she, we were having this conversation and, going through the story. And he was also very interested in these stalking incidents in the woods. And we were talking about that. And the girlfriend said, God, it's crazy. I can just see how much your father loved you. And I just sat there and I was like, security, can you please remove this woman from my house?
Yeah.
We don't have security, but I'm just saying that to be dramatic. I was like, my neck got red. I was like, what? And I had to think about it and I had to process that. And I think, my father was truly like a textbook psychopath. He did not have real emotion. And I think that this was his way to show his kids that he did love them, because he did not have that in him like, most people do. He had no real empathy or sympathy or any type of real emotion. And that was obvious. If you knew him, you would have seen that in him. And it's just kind of terrifying that he took his kids and did this. But I was just talking about this last night. There was a time, and it was during the 80s, maybe right around this time, my father had been taking, it sounds funny, but it's kind of scary. My father was taking, back in those days, they had the Dale Carnegie course, and it was called How to Make Friends and Influence People. And my father was all over that. It was like he was teaching himself how to interact with people because he had no interacting skills. Nothing. There was nothing there. And it's like he learned how to create this person who can interact with people. And he did that whole how to influence friends, or how to win friends and influence people, I believe is what it's called. And he did that whole course. And it was right in this era. And yeah, it was just it was definitely a strange childhood. I'll tell you that. It was terrifying mostly.
I would tell you this. I don't know that taking you out to stalk people was his way of showing you love. I would think for people who read the book, it was more the moments of making you breakfast and taking you out for breakfast. That was the nurturing side of him.
Yeah.
That was.
I think, though, if you know him, you would kind of flip it. The points of us taking us to stalk people and doing these things, that was him teaching us. And I think the moments of, going out to breakfast and making breakfast and things, that was kind of the fake end of it. That was, and if you read through that, the times when he was making breakfast and he was happy and stuff, it was him kind of buttering us up because he was taking us on some crazy mission. Okay. And it was, the same time when he told me, you know what, I'll kill you. He said it, I'll kill you. I view him as like, it's the opposite, like him teaching us how to stalk people in the woods and how to use poisons and how to shoot people and how to kill somebody with a pen. That was his love. And the rest of it was kind of maybe what he was learning in his books, like, oh, you should take your kids out to breakfast. Oh, you should do this with your kids or whatever. That was the fake part. I believe the real part of him being a true psychopath was him showing us what I'm learning, moving forward in my life. I've learned like none of that's normal. But that was him, I believe, showing love. So I've had to wrestle with that. But I do feel like knowing him, and I learned to watch him. I watched him like a hawk because my survival depended on it.
Oh, yeah.
And also my adult life, having gone to school and getting my PhD in forensic psychology, I think it was to unravel his brain. So I watched him and I have that hands-on knowledge, and I've also got this book knowledge. And I just feel like, I don't know, I think that was the real him taking us out stalking and doing things.
Most definitely. I tell you what, Bill, let's take our break here. When we come back, I want to talk about a little bit of near misses or near hits. And I want to rewind a little bit and talk about the times where you barely got away. Like I said, near misses, the times where you would go to sneak around and the times where your father is starting to formulate the poison Tylenol and you're starting to put the pieces together, because really, I think you knew about this all along. You say that the revelation came on his deathbed, yet you knew about this all along.
I knew all along. I just couldn't put it together.
Right. You just couldn't put it together. Mm-hmm. We'll shovel out the theory here at the end of the program, or towards the end of the program. I'll give you the or at the end of the program, and you tell me if we're onto a better line of reasoning at the end of the program. And because there's also your brother and sister, and I want to talk about them as well, because they're also deeply affected by what's going on with your father as well. The book is so fascinating, folks. And I tell you, you're going to pick it up. You're not going to want to put it down. It is, I mean, not only an exercise in how a father can destroy a family, but also how one person can destroy a society and how you can change a society with just one person's actions. The Tylenol Murders, a father's confession to his son. Joseph Cibelli is my guest. We have a link in the description of this program. Go get this book, folks. When we come back, we'll talk to Joe about the little near misses when he got away. Now, and how he got away. And did his father let him get away? Did he kind of lead him along the entire way? We'll talk about the times when he would sneak down to the lair and try to see what was going on with his father, what his father was into, and the times where he nearly got caught and the times he did get caught, and why his father let him go. We'll talk about that when we come back with Joseph Cibelli right here on the Best in True Crime Podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the Best in True Crime Podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guest is Joseph Cibelli. The name of the book is The Tylenol Murders, A Father's Confession to His Son. It's available by Wild Blue Press. We have a link in the description of this program. Folks, go get this book. This book is amazing. I tell you, it is one of those books that if you've been a victim of abuse, is going to feel very claustrophobic. There are points you're going to have to put this book down because it is going to trigger you. Even if you haven't been a victim of abuse, there are times you're going to have to put it down. It is an uncomfortable book, but it is a good book. It is one of those books that will show you exactly how just one person can change society with ill actions and ill intent. One of the things I found fascinating about your father is he took one of the things the military taught him, Joe, poisons, and turned it into a fascination. He found Jim Jones fascinating, of all people. What was it about Jim Jones he found so fascinating?
Okay, so when we had we had this string of trauma in my life, and that was when I saw my father devolve. Up until 1978 or so, my father had been somewhat, we didn't have a totally functional life, but it was way more functional than it ended up being. So in 1978, at the end of September, my cousin Karen was killed in a car accident on homecoming night. And then 2 weeks later, my brother was born. And then not even probably 3 weeks later, Jonestown happened. In Jonestown, and I remember being a kid, so this was 1978, I was 7 at the time, watching anything on news about it. We did not watch a lot of news, but if there was anything Jonestown related on, which there was a lot of it back then, considering the era, there was quite a bit on TV. And he would watch it, and then I would see him with his little newspaper clippings about Jim Jones. And my father he talked about it a lot. And there's a story in the book where I'm with my father, and he's talking about Jim Jones. And this is right before the murders. He's talking about Jim Jones, and in his own way, in the story that I put in the book, he's he's praising Jim Jones because he was efficient, number one. I mean, he killed over 900 people very quickly. It was efficient. And he was also praising Jim Jones because in my father's eyes, and this is that psychopathy, in my father's eyes, Jim Jones was a merciful man because he chose to use cyanide. And my father told me, and these were his words, that originally Jim Jones' plan was to put antifreeze into the quote unquote Kool-Aid. That's what they call it. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the car with him and I'm thinking, like, why? Okay, why is he telling me this? Number one. Number two, how does he even know this?
Yeah.
So I've carried that with me my whole life, just wondering. And, I really don't have a full answer for that, but he was just obsessed with Jim Jones. And it was after that he started, there's a time in the book where I'm talking about how he had taken these copper nails and he coated them in potassium cyanide and put them into a tree that he hated that tree, and it was on our neighbor's property, and a war had started because of this tree. And so I was aware that he knew what he was doing with this. And at that point, and that was in 1980, so just a few years after the Jim Jones, he had this powder, and I asked him, I mean, I could still ask him questions at that point. And I said, what was the powder? And he said, oh, potassium cyanide. And I remembered that word cyanide from the Jim Jones murders. And I had also seen that word cyanide in some of the books that he kept in his, what I call the lair. And he admitted it to me. He said, and I asked him, I was like, well, where do you get that? I mean, I think back in that era, it was much easier to get cyanide than it is now. But you couldn't just go to the grocery store and pick up, a jug of cyanide or something.
Yeah.
So I asked him where he got it. And he explained to me, he called it Generous Motors, which is General Motors. He worked for a division of General Motors called Electromotive. And that was his full-time job. And it was always very sporadic. Like he might work 6 months, 70 hours a week, and then be laid off for months at a time. But what General Motors, our Electromotive, did was they made locomotive engines. And my father worked on electroplating locomotive engines. And having researched all of this, and I mean, I hit all this research so deep that the top chemical that people would use, especially in that era for electroplating, was potassium cyanide. And so, connecting that in with his story about the tree, which connects into Jim Jones because of the whole cyanide thing with Jim Jones.
Yeah.
So as I put this together, we can talk about the lair too, because it kind of ties in with this.
Yeah.
So you're okay to talk about the lair?
Absolutely. Let's segue to
talk about the lair. So in 1981, I moved downstairs in our house. We had a basement. It had a finished, like an in-law apartment, what I would term it as. And I was like, oh, I'm down there because my sister was born and we just didn't have a room upstairs. We had a 2-bedroom house. So I was like, I'm going downstairs. So around that same time, my dad decided that he was going to spend a lot of time in the basement as well. And I'm like, I just cannot get away from this man. Mm-hmm. So what had just been a little corner of the basement that was his workshop, it was an unfinished part of the basement. The rest of the basement was finished. So this little section with the water heater and the furnace, it was an unfinished part. And slowly but surely, this open room kind of became like locked down. So first thing, it was a door. He put a door on there and I'm like, well, that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's an unfinished part of the basement. You can throw your stuff in there and shut the door. That was my mentality.
Yep.
Well, then after that, there was a lock and it was a deadbolt. And my father had done a lot of little locksmithing gigs on the side, which I think there's probably stories related to that I haven't even figured out yet. But he installed this lock on the door and it was a deadbolt and you needed the key to get in, but you also needed the key to get out. It was a double-sided one. It didn't have a latch on the inside. You had to use the key to get out. So he had put that on there, and that's when I started thinking in my, at that point I was still 10. My 10-year-old mind is like, what is going on in that place?
Yeah.
So I started, casually, I could take a peek in there here and there if the door was open, but I watched him, like I had mentioned earlier. I had to watch him just to see where his mood was at because it could flip on a dime. He could switch. And so I was watching him and I was peeking out of my bedroom door one night and I watching him to see which key he used to lock the lair. And I could tell, and I knew it was a Schlage. That's the brand name of the key, because I had done some locksmith jobs with him too when I was a kid. It was a little side thing. I'm like, oh no, it's that Schlage key, and it's maybe 3, 4, 5 in from the end over there. So I watched him, and I was like, I got to get in there. I want to see what's going on. So I got the key. He was out one day. Nobody else was home. So I memorized exactly where the keys were. Went down to the lair. I had the key in my hand, the Schlage key in my hand, figuring out which one it was. I popped it into the lock, turned it, and it opened. So as I'm walking in there, I'm like, oh, he's going to have a bomb will explode when I open the door, or there's going to be some alarm go off, or there's going to be a spring gun loaded at the door. It's going to shoot me. I opened the door and I just held my breath, and I'm like, nope, nothing. I'm in. So I flipped the lights on and I just kind of surveyed the area. And since he had put the door on, it was a little bit different in there. He had put some new shelves in and a new countertop in there, and just a whole little section that was not developed before was developed now. So I go through there and I'm looking around, and I, prior to this, I had found his copy of the Anarchist cookbook in there. And as it probably at that point, 10 years old, looking at this book, I'm like, what is this? And it's like all black and it's got white writing on it. And I'm like, why does he have a cookbook in here? You know, I'm 10 years old. So I open it up and I'm like, oh, this is not recipes. I mean, I saw words like detonate, bomb, cyanide. It taught how to make some kind of crazy illicit drug. So, I mean, I just slammed it shut and was like, I'm never coming in here again. So over the years, my adventures breaking into the lair, I also discovered he had in there what is called the poor man's James Bond. Mm-hmm. And what those are, for people who don't know, which I think probably most people don't know what this is, but in that era, it was like the dark web. You would have to go into, like, my father read Soldier of Fortune magazine. You know, he all of these magazines that were like that. He had those, and I think that's where he probably ordered it, was through Soldier of Fortune. And you'd have to, like, you know, send in for these pamphlets, and they would mail you these. And I don't know how often they mailed them, but he had stacks of them. So he had been doing this for a while. And they were like little bulletins almost. It looked like a church bulletin, and it was typing and writing and all over every inch of the page. And I was like, what is this now? This is the poor man's James Bond, it says. And I'm like, I have no idea what this is. And so I never really dove into those because it didn't look right. And after having seen the Anarchist cookbook, I thought, no. So fast forward now, all these years later, I was able to obtain some copies of the poor man's James Bond. They are actually online as a PDF, but I wanted the actual copies of it. So I found them, and probably on the FBI list now. They're probably outside right now waiting for me, wondering, why did I order these? But I have them. And as I went through them, I'm going to tell you one thing I saw that relates back to Jim Jones in the poor man's James Bond. And this man, Kurt Saxon, he wrote very dark. His writing was really dark, scary. And what he had said in there, like, my hair stood up. It said, if you want to be a real hit at a party, put some antifreeze in the Kool-Aid. Ding, ding, ding. That's the story my father told me about Jim Jones and the cyanide, that he had originally wanted to put antifreeze in there. That was in the poor man's James Bond. So my brain is like these things are like converging together. And finally, after a whole lifetime, it's like, oh, that's how he knew that. Yeah. It was in here. Yep. So continue reading through these horrible, dark things. I mean, it's written like it's funny or something. There's a dark sense of humor with this. I'm like, there's nothing funny about this. Go on, and guess what's laid out in there? The whole Tylenol Murders is laid out in the poor man's James Bond. And I've been saying this, and people are like, whatever. I'm like, no, you have to read it, because it says in there, if you want to get to your enemy, and it uses the word enemy, get into their medicine cabinets, look for capsules, put cyanide in the capsules. I'm like, okay, that's where it came from. And that was from, like, I don't know, between 1969 and 1972 or so. So long before the murders happened. So in my mind, I think, like, I cannot believe this didn't happen sooner. Yeah. And yeah. That is laid out in there. I mean, it is right there. And then he had another manual in there that was a nice one called How to Kill. And that one is really obscure. Like you can't find that one. It's really bad. But the author writes about using cyanide and strychnine and putting it in sugar bowls and putting it in milk and putting it in. My father had this concept, and it was right around 9/11, so years later, where it's like he knew, he said, you know what, somebody could put cyanide into the water supply and kill off a huge amount of people. And, you know, obviously now I look at that and be like, okay, was he going to do that? Was that his plan? Like he knew, I mean, and he explained it to me, how you would do this. And you put it into the water supply and it could, you know, definitely could kill tons of people. And he also had talked about, like I had just mentioned in the How to Kill book, about putting poison in milk. My father had talked about that. He's like, do you even know how easy it would be to put poison in milk? And I was like, why do you know this? Why are you telling me this? It all makes sense now. I mean, you know, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if you remember this or not. We're about the same age. I was born in 1970. Do you remember after your father did the Tylenol murders that the anarchist cookbook actually got, high schoolers got a hold of it and it was running through high schools? Do you remember that? No, because I'm the same age as you are. I was born in 71. So after the murder, I mean, I was 11. So, I mean, I really didn't know anything about the anarchist cookbook after that point until I started researching it as an adult. It was a few years later. So when we were probably sophomores in high school, after it had gotten out that some of this stuff could be found in the anarchist cookbook, some of this stuff could be found in the anarchist cookbook, then teenagers started to go, oh, well, I want to see what's in it. Mm-hmm. And copies of it started to get around in high schools. Because I remember it was probably 85 or 86 that we started hearing announcements, and our teachers started telling us, if we find copies of it, that not only will it be confiscated, but you'll be suspended or expelled from school.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't remember that in my high school at all. And if it was happening, I probably just looked at it like, I've already read that book years ago, you know? Yeah. We had that in our house, years ago. No, but I don't remember that happening when I was in high school. And I went to high school from 85 to 89.
Yeah.
So yeah, same era.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do not remember that at all in high school.
I specifically remember that from.
Wow.
Yeah. And because there was one kid who got a hold of a copy of it, and it was circulating amongst a group of kids at our high school. Mm-hmm. And one kid got suspended for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. And I mean, it's really bad. Like the anarchist cookbook it's pretty bad, but compared to like the poor man's James Bond, that's like a kindergarten book. Because if you read into what this Kurt Saxon wrote about, it's off the charts. And I mean, anarchist cookbook is certainly off the charts, but we did not have that issue then that I recall. But like I said, if it was happening, I probably was like, oh yeah, I read that a long time ago. So
yeah.
Interesting.
It was just an interesting tidbit that I wanted to bring up with you today, because I remember it specifically, and that was a few years after, of course, the murders. But it was one of those things where I don't know why it was our generation that got enthralled with it after some of this stuff started happening. Because after the Tylenol murders, there were a couple other incidents that happened, and all of a sudden it became kind of it was a curiosity thing, right? It was after the, razor blades and Halloween candy and all this other stuff. Then it was like the younger generation was like, okay, we want to find out why people are messing with us. So we want to see the source material, right?
Yeah. And I mean, my answer to that question is why people, because like I know for my father, because he knew he could do this and he knew he could get away with it. And and I'll tell you this, I mean, this is something, I mean, I've talked about this, but not a lot. I mean, he had a grievance with medication. Like he had gotten poisoned when he was a kid, like a little kid. He drank a sulfa drug, and according to him, he died. And from that day forward, I feel like he's carried this vendetta against medication. And prior to the murders, my brother had gotten into a bottle of liquid children's Tylenol. And then right before the murders, Johnson & Johnson was putting out a new children's co-Tylenol, and they were like a flavored one. Mm-hmm. And he lost it. I mean, my father, I described this in depth in the book. There was a coupon in our Chicago Tribune for a free bottle of that children's Tylenol. And I mean, he destroyed it. And he was like, they're going to kill a kid, those MFers. They're going to kill a kid. And shortly after that is when the murders happened. And I'll tell you this, in my father's demented mind, I mean, in his mind, he did the world a favor. That is the mentality of this man, was that he did the world a favor by doing this because, yeah, you know what? 7 people, give or take, died from this, but how many people didn't ingest this medicine and die? And so, yeah, in his mind, he was the hero of the story. And that is 100% the truth. And it's sick and it's sad and it's twisted and it's dark.
About the only thing he really did was he forced drug companies to put protective seals on their medication.
Correct. They did. And then, but also in 1983, the feds passed the Anti-Tampering Act.
Right. The Anti-Tampering Act.
So it became a federal crime after 1983 to tamper with that. There was no federal Anti-Tampering Act in 1982 when he did this. And so because of that, the FBI did not have jurisdiction over this. They assisted in the investigation, but they did not have the jurisdiction. So it was after 83 was when, now you mess with anything like that, now you're looking at a federal crime.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in his own way, he got some stuff done, but but in his mind, he was absolutely like the hero with this. And it's sad and it's sick and it's dark, but that is why I went into studying forensic psychology, so I can understand that mind. Yeah. And I understand it now. And I'm like, oh yeah, he was his own little hero in the story.
You do go into the book as to why he believed he was such a hero. He also worked part-time for the Lyons Fire Department and the Lyons Police Department, and balanced that. You say he also put on many hats with his personality. There was Evil Dan, there was Manic Dan, there was,
Dan. We had Deacon Dan. That's a whole other scary thing, Deacon Dan. But yeah, he was a police officer, and in this era, he was a police officer quite a bit because he had been getting laid off on and off from Electromotive, so he would just do more work at the police department. And I documented it in the book, and it's not. This was the first time it happened, but it was certainly not the last. Where my mom was out with me that day, and she just told me, she said, you know what? If he starts beating on me tonight, you've got to call the police because I don't know how much more of it I can take. So I was 10, and it happened that night. Like there was I think she had to have known something was brewing. And I heard this thud. I was in the basement in my room, and I just heard this thud. And I was like, I know that's my mother hitting the floor. Okay, I'm on. I got to do this. So running to the phone. We had a sticker next to the phone with the Lyons Fire Department and the Lyons Police Department numbers on there, and we didn't have 911 back in 1982, especially, and Lyons was kind of a small town. So you had to actually punch in the numbers and wait. And I had said in the book, God help you if you had an emergency and a rotary phone. It would take you forever to call. So I called and then talked to the woman that answered the phone, and I was like, you know what, my dad's beating up my mom. She needs help. And she's like, what's your mom's name? And I said, Mary Drozd. And she's like, oh, are you Danny's son? Yeah, they're already on their way. They didn't need the address. They knew where they were going. And so when the police would show up, and this was the first time, but it was not the last, honestly, it was basically like, okay, just knock it off. Whatever's going on in there, just cool it. Jeez. And we lived down the street, I think five doors down was the Lyons, the chief of police lived on our block. You know what I mean? It was definitely like a club, you know what? And so my father, in his own mind, he knew he was pretty much untouchable. I mean, here's me, a kid crying, calling the police, and they're like, just knock it off, just stop, And he was untouchable. There was nothing. And like you kind of alluded to, like, I probably knew this all along. I really 100% feel I did. And I also feel like there was nobody to tell, because I started in about 1985, 86. I started keeping a journal of the weird excursions with him, the weird things he would say and the weird things he would do. And that journal disappeared in 1988. And I mean, there was nobody, like nobody would listen. I would always be the one in the room, like, do you see what he's doing? And do you think it's wrong? And everybody'd be like, who, what? What are you talking about? It's nobody would listen. And it was so, I've spent my whole life dealing with that. Like nobody would listen. So even if I were to have, if I saw what he was doing and I knew it, and then if I were to have called authorities and said, you know what, I think my dad's poisoning the Tylenol, then click, even now as an adult, when I've reached out to the police departments, before I put this out as a book, I reached out to several police departments that were involved in this investigation. Nothing, like absolutely nada.
Really?
It's only now, the book's been out, what is this? The book's been out just under a month. I'm finally now getting some movement from the Arlington Heights Police Department. They are the ones that are running this task force, supposedly. And then I just got an email from a Chicago police officer. She's a sergeant in the homicide unit. And get this, oddly enough, she just wrote a book that was published with Wild Blue Press. So I was like, how crazy is that? And she reached out to me wanting to talk to me about my book because she's in the same area where the Tylenol murder investigation is happening. So I feel like there's some movement and there's traction happening now. But I have been banging this drum for so long. I have called all the right people. I have done everything right. I put it in writing and laid it out like a case, like if I was going to prosecute him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just now starting to get some traction. I mean, it's hard for me to even understand the way that people just don't want to be bothered with things. They're like, whatever, you're just crazy, you'll go away. I'm like, well, guess what? I'm not crazy and I'm not going away. This is real.
But Joe, is it safe? Because, spoiler alert, is it safe because your father's gone?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if my father were still alive, he would be plotting my death right now. And I can guarantee you that. And I'll tell you what, he would have known he'd figure out how to do it. And I can reference that in recent history. So in 2019, my father reached out to my husband through Facebook because I don't love social media. I'm not on it very often. Mm-hmm. And he sent him a message. And he said to my husband, he said, oh, I've got a journal of Joey's and it's very interesting. I can't wait to come out there and show it to you. Well, that's a threat because I had not talked to my father for 4 years at that point.
Yeah.
He was referencing my journal that I had written back in 1985, 86 that went missing. It went missing in 1988. And I document that in the book because I feel like that's important.
Yeah.
I was documenting in that journal things that happened in 1982, things that happened prior to that, things that happened after that were just not right. I was documenting it. At least I knew to document, like put this down. Went missing. And then he references that to my husband. I've got Journal of Joey's. I can't wait to come show it to you. It's very interesting. So there was that. And then right after that, a couple of weeks after that, he sent another one. And he said, I know where you are, JR. My name's Joseph Robert. He said, I know where you are, JR. You can run, but you can't hide. And I'm like, I'm not running. I'm not hiding. I don't know what he's talking about. He's like, I'll see you soon. Bam. And then the next one was, I hope you two have a happy new year because it's going to be the last for one of you.
Jeez.
So this was in 2019. My father was, how old was he even then? Like 69 at that point, I believe, somewhere in there. He's sending these messages that he's going to kill me, So yeah, I do honestly, 100%. It's safe now that he's not here that I can tell this. And 100% true. I have had this in the back of my head all these years. When I first met my husband in 2002, we're standing in the kitchen talking one day, and he's talking about his childhood and his dad, and it was all nice. He grew up in northern Wisconsin, so similar to probably your background.
Yeah.
They'd go out snowmobiling and do stuff. It's like, and I'm like, God, where did you grow up? And I looked at him right square in the eyes, and I said, well, you know what? I think my dad was a serial killer. And that was in 2002. And it's ever since then, I've been able to kind of start piecing things together, but there was no way I could ever put it together until he said what he said when he was dying. He was giving that to me, I think.
I'm just curious, and I know this is a little off topic, but when your husband sees these communiques from your dad, does it hit him that, yeah, your dad's really a serial killer? Or, yeah, your dad's really a
he never doubted what I said. Once he got to know the family, he was like, oh God, yeah, I could so see that. And I mean, so he started, it was much later in time, he started to watch my father too and be like watching his weird things he would do and just cryptic. My father, you couldn't have a conversation. It was always some cryptic thing. It was always a riddle or a rhyme. Or if you asked a question, you didn't get a yes or no answer. You always got this cat and mouse game. So not long before he made his deathbed confession on September 29th, 2023, which is the 41st anniversary of when people started dying. So if you look at those dates, it's like ding, ding, ding. 10 days before that, I had sent my father, we hadn't talked in years, and I sent him like a goodbye letter. And in the goodbye letter, I referenced poison, and I purposely referenced poison in that letter, stating, the poison that you released into the world, it didn't kill me. You know what I mean? And I was putting that out there because I'm like, well, I owe it to myself to know, because I've had this in the back of my head.
Right.
And then, 10 days later, his response was, cyanide pills, I did it. And along with that, that's right in the beginning of the book, cyanide pills, I did it. He said it twice. And the other thing that just gives me goosebumps, what he had said was the three Marys should still be here. One of them was so young. Well, everybody just thought he was babbling. And if you look at that through the lens of this book, 3 victims were named Mary, and one of them was 12 years old. The last couple of weeks of his life, he would not even state my mom's name, which is Mary. My mom's name's Mary. He wouldn't even call her by name. And he barely talked to her in the end. He was mad at her, because he was dying and he was PO'd at her for whatever reason. But the other thing that he said, which just to me was like is almost like I had his blessing.
Mm-hmm.
He's laying in his bed and he's staring down the hallway and he's looking at something that's not there. He's talking to something that, the normal eye can't see. And he says, if you knew what I did and you didn't do anything about it, you should be ashamed of yourself. You would be the monster. He said that for me. I think in his head, he knew that I was figuring this out. And so he was giving me this and telling me, you know what? If you knew that I did this and you don't do anything with it, you're the bad guy. So, I mean, it was kind of like I got his blessing at the end there in a very dark, twisted way. But like, okay, here it is. I'm giving this to you. Go for it. It's like I call it my strange inheritance.
I got to ask you, Joe, just speculation. I don't know what I also do a paranormal show on top of this true crime show. And we talk a lot about, afterlife, and I don't know what your afterlife beliefs are, but what do you surmise happened to your dad at that moment when he died? What do you suppose he saw?
Well, I don't know. And I'm going to tell you some more stuff about him. Throughout his life, he became very involved in church. And it's a very small church and it's a very autonomous church. Like there's no accountability in this. And he kind of fashioned himself over time. He was his own Jim Jones. Mm-hmm. He was leading these people. And I'm like, that is a wolf in sheep's clothing. So at the end, my beliefs on the afterlife are, I believe there is an accountability for your life. Mm-hmm. I don't know, in a literal heaven or hell. I hope that there is at least a literal heaven. Mm-hmm. But honestly, at the end, like as horrible as my father was, I would just hope that in this, call it like a judgment type of a phase where he would be able to see what he did and I don't know if the word apologize for it is right, but he could see what he did. And I am just so glad that I don't have to make the judgment decisions.
Yeah.
Because I think, honestly, whatever hell would be like if it's real, I can't imagine anybody being there, even though somebody like him, he should be, I just hope that, this creator and this God is gracious enough to point out, you did look what you did. Seriously, you did that. And there's some sort of an atonement. I don't know. I can't say that for sure, but I do feel like when he left this realm, he has to deal with that. And I don't know what that is. And I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions.
If there's a life reveal process where he has to feel the pain that he dished out to every single one of his victims, even all the way back to the military, do you feel that would be justified enough?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I honestly can't comment on that because I think, I'll get biblical, whoever's without sin, throw the first stone. I mean, I have not been perfect in my life, but I've never killed anybody either.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's like, at what level do you start that and what level does it stop?
Right.
So like I said, I'm just glad I don't have to do it.
Right. No, I agree.
However that happens, I'm hands off that. I don't know. So I think at that point, I think he was prepared to, quote unquote, meet his maker. And I feel like those literally in his last breaths, he laid this out there and gave me this and gave me the admonition of, what, if you know what I did and you don't do anything about it, you're the bad guy. That is, I feel like he got this off his chest at the end. And I do know that when he was talking about the 3 Marys and the one was so young, that he was crying. I do think that somewhere along the way he humanized, even if it was right at the very end. I don't know. I can't say. And I certainly am not absolving him or letting him off the hook for anything he's done. I'm just glad that I don't have to make those decisions.
So that's the closest to remorse you ever saw from him?
Oh, yeah. Like my father, I mean, I don't ever think I saw my father cry. There was a time in the book where I mentioned he had like a tear in his eye, and it was right before the murders. I never saw him cry. I never saw him crack. Honestly, I never really saw any type of human emotion. It was always this animalistic instinct from him. Like, you go out there and you kill or be killed, or that was how he lived his life. And so just even to know that at the end, like, he carried some remorse, it kind of humanized him at that very last minute as he was, going to another realm, so yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions, but it was.
We were talking before the show, and as we start to wrap up here, because I know I've taken a lot of your time here today, Joe, but it's a fascinating story. And again, folks, the name of the book is The Tylenol Murders, a Father's Confession to His Son. It's out by Wild Blue Press. We have a link in the description of this program. We were talking before the program about how in a family dynamic, especially in a family dynamic where abuse is prevalent, when it comes to the children in that family dynamic, you have children that are either the victim that crumbles under that abuse. You have one child that will step up and fight against that abuse. You have different children that react differently to that abuse. Mm-hmm. And it's obvious which one you were. You were the one that stepped up and fought. Mm-hmm. But in that, as you stepped up to fight, how did you reconcile what was done to you? I mean, inside, somewhere in there, you had to reconcile your feelings, whether it be anger, hurt, whatever it was that was done to you. You somewhere in there, you had to deal with your feelings. Then you had to move forward and continue the fight. How did you reconcile what was done to you by your father?
Well, in that time frame, back when I was living in the house and I was still a kid, I mean, it was literally like you couldn't dwell on something too much because you had to be prepared for what was coming at you next. So it was like a constant battle. And I lived on, pure adrenaline. I lived in a fight or flight mode, and it's taken me a long time and a lot of therapy to realize like I still don't have to do flight or fight. So as far as like reconciling it went, when I was living there, like there really was no reconciliation because it was literally like, you know what, you just had to lick your wounds and move on, try to stay out of the way, and then get ready for whatever's coming next. It wasn't until, I'm 54 now, I'll be 55 in July, the last few years, and by writing this book where I've actually been able to like literally put everything on paper and look at it objectively. Like reading my own book, I'm like, wow, yes, that happened. And I did not document all the abuse in the book. There was so much more that went on. I just put enough in to paint a picture of him. Mm-hmm. So as far as like reconciling that, I don't really think I ever did. And, I cut him out of my life in 2015. And I go into this in the book, and I won't go into it now because it's a whole separate topic, but I did cut him out of my life. And I think at that point, I had found out some other stuff about him, and I went off the rails. And I mean, I really went off the rails. I retreated. I just focused in on school. But what I learned in that time was like, you know what? I have to just, and this is so cliche sounding, and I don't mean it to be that way, but I was like, for myself, I have to just forgive him. I can't, that doesn't mean I condone what he did. That does not mean that I, think it's okay or give it a thumbs up. But for myself, I can't hold on to that anger, because once that anger and that opened up inside of me, it could have destroyed me.
Yeah.
And I kept it real simple. And I was like, you know what? I forgive him. And just saying those words is one thing, but then actually meaning it is another thing. But, I forgave him, but I don't forget what he did.
Right.
I forgive things he's done, but I don't forget it. And I use this now. I have a little bit of a platform now with this book that I think there's an underlying lesson in this book for people. If you're in a situation like that, like, you can survive, you can do it, and you don't have to fall apart. Falling apart is natural and normal, but you can hold it together, and you can do it. And that's the underlying theme in the book, as well as, my life story, the murders, and a whole bunch of other things in this book. But the underlying theme is really like, you know what? You can do it. You can do this. I did it.
Boy, yeah, that's an overwhelming lesson in this book. And folks, if you think you can't read this book and see what Joe's been through and what his brother has been through, I mean, I'll tell you, they set a bar in this book. They really do set a bar. So, and again, we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to this story that you need to read. Joe, I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you. It's been amazing. It's been a very great conversation.
Yeah, and again, I applaud you for putting this story out there. I know it's not an easy story to put out there, and having the courage to put the story out there, because you could have just filed it away, right?
Mm-hmm. There was part of me that wanted to. There was part of me that said, you know what? I don't want to take this on now. I'm too old for this. I don't want to do this. But when I saw and I knew what was happening and what had happened, I couldn't look the other way. And that goes right back to his admonishment. If you know what I did and you don't do anything about it, you're the monster. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be the monster in this story.
Yeah. And I mean, it shows a lot of courage. It really does show a lot of courage, and I think it shows people too, it's never too late to try and make right what was done wrong.
Never, ever.
So, and again, I tip my cap to you, because it's I think you're going to show people a lot just through this book. So thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. Again, folks, the name of the book, The Tylenol Murders, A Father's Confession to His Son. Joseph Cibelli is the author of this book. It's put out by Wild Blue Press. We have a link in the description of this program. Go get this book, folks.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Yes, please.
Super quick. I have a website that I started because I don't love social media. It's just josephcibelli.com. I'm not selling anything on there, but there were pictures and there were some things that didn't get into the final cut of the book, and why, I don't know. But on that website, I have a little bit more explanation, and there are pictures in there that line up with descriptions in the book that I think when you see these pictures after you've read the book, you're like, oh my God, that makes sense. There's those. And then I also did put in there, I have a visual of walking from Lincoln Park Zoo to the Walgreens on Wells. I have a visual of that. And I also did put a diagram of the Bussy Woods day, where we started to where the pills were dropped. And you'll see it's very close by. So that's all on there. And I also have on there what I'm working on next. Because when I dug all this up with him, there was other things that I found.
All right.
They have his fingerprints on them. Oh, yeah.
We'll link that up as well. Yeah.
What's that?
We'll link that up as well. Yeah. So people can access that.
Yeah.
So,
It's on there. I just put a page on there about one thing I'm researching, and, you can contact me through the page. And if you know anything about him, if anything clicks or rings a bell, please reach out, because I'm open to everybody's suggestions.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And again, we'll if anybody has any further information for Joe, please reach out to him. But we'll link that up as well so people can get a hold of Joe and so you can see this further information once you read the book. Because I tell you, folks, once you've read the book, it's not necessarily the end of the story. You're gonna,
no, not even close.
Yeah,
not even close.
You're going to have more questions yourself. And yes. There's going to be obviously more questions there. So, Joe, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, it's time now for us to lighten things up a little bit. It's time now for us to bring in Jessica Freeberg. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again. Time you've all been looking forward to. It's time for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. And with that, I need a co-hostess. And not just any co-hostess. I mean, there's Hostess Cupcakes. There's well, I would never call her a ding-dong, but the ding-dongs are out there as well. I mean, they're tasty, but it's a horrible name to call somebody. I would never call anybody a ding-dong. Well, there's a few people I call a ding-dong, but they're nobody in this room. I digress. I've gone way off the rails here. Anyways, but I need a co-hostess. And with that, I reach my hand across the Twin Cities to someone who is intelligent, witty, funny, someone who brings the creativity, someone who... by gosh, has become almost an expert at this Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals thing. And one who Binder over there at the Hindustan Times has said is the eater of worlds, destroyer of charts. One who the Hindustan Times has said, if she releases any more books, may kill all the trees in all of Hindustan, wherever Hindustan is. I don't know. I haven't looked it up on a map. I don't have maps here, people. Do I look like I have walls to hang maps from? I mean, don't look at the
have maps all over my walls, Tim.
Do you? Oh, I'm sorry. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Freeberg. Do you have maps all over your walls?
I do. I wish I could show you. I've got 2 big maps of the United States, and they have pins in them for all the places we've written about monsters and ghosts and witches.
So you know where Hindustan is. I have no idea.
That I don't know, honestly.
Okay. I have no idea where it is.
I should, since I'm destroying it.
Yeah,
and,
since you've
making life miserable there.
Yeah. Well, Binder seems like he's happy. He's got a job. So.
Yeah, keeping him busy.
Yeah. Keeping Binder busy. That sounds like an odd adult film that's probably on
But that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Sounds like a porn.
Yeah, on YouPorn. Keeping Binder busy. Yepers. Lots of big stories today on... Speaking of, there's a rather sizable not safe for work section.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Well, look at you. Oh, wonderful.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. On today's Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals. Although it is, part of it is quite funny. I mean, a good part of it is quite funny.
I mean, it's always funny.
Yeah.
Even when it's disgusting, it's still funny.
Oh, I didn't say it wasn't disgusting, but it is quite funny. Yeah. Yeah. I'm learning that people are really lewd, nude, and crude everywhere.
I mean, you can't tie them down. I mean, you could. I like that, but
yeah, you pay extra for it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Yeah. But our first story, Jess, we'll just jump right into it. It's kind of an odd story. I wonder what it. I don't know. I think my.
What is that?
I think my ALEXA has been talking back to me all day. It's kind of weird.
It's so weird.
We are seeing 2 teens accused of making plans to kill one of their classmates, laughing in the back of a patrol.
That's weird. Okay.
What?
I don't know. I think that was maybe, I don't know what that was. Okay. We'll just continue on. My electronics are talking back to me today. They love to do that.
They're just trying to share a story with you about dumb crimes and stupid criminals,
yes.
It sounds like.
Yes. They want to get in on the fun. It's one of those days, Jess. There's a murder plot sought to resurrect the Sandy Hook shooter at Lake Brantley High School. This is a bizarre, bizarre story. There's no ha-ha funny to this one. We're going to Seminole County, Florida, the home of crazy. After 2 girls were arrested back in January in an attempted murder investigation, new footage has been released showing the girls in the backseat of a patrol car. The footage shows the pair laughing shortly after being placed in the rear of the vehicle, as well as discussing the situation that led to their arrest, specifically that someone snitched to law enforcement. In an arrest report, police said that Lake Brantley High School received an anonymous tip on January 22nd at around 11:30 p.m. via the Fortify Florida website. The anonymous tip advised that there is a student who goes by the name of Jimmy who is planning to kill another student name, and then the name was redacted, according to the report. Eventually, investigators said they were able to identify Jimmy as a student named Valdez. The report shows that Valdez and her best friend, identified as someone with the last name of Lippert, were pulled from their classes to speak with law enforcement. Valdez denied knowing anything about the tip, according to whatever this tip is. It feels like we got in the middle of this story. I think there's a video component to this story. According to about this tip about trying to resurrect the shooter from Sandy Hook, which again is an odd story. Oh my bleeping God, I knew I shouldn't have told him, Lippert can be heard saying after their arrest, because he was like, okay, can you please tell me? I can't sleep tonight. Bleep you, is the quote. Court documents filed earlier this month also show that Valdez was obsessed with Sandy Hook shooter Adam Lanza, which ties into the murder plot itself. It was learned that the victim reminded Valdez of Adam Lanza, and that she believed if she killed the victim, she would have a blood bond with Adam Lanza, which would resurrect him from the dead, one motion reads. So,
yikes.
In trying to kill this person that they were trying to kill, they believed if they killed him, they would bring Adam Lanza back from the dead.
No, I don't like that.
No. Valdez also claimed that she planned to wait for the victim in the restroom, stab him in the stomach, or cut his throat, leave flowers at the scene, and smoke a cigarette afterwards.
Well, she has a plan.
Well, yeah, we all need a plan, don't we? I mean, why go through anything if you don't have a plan? Always be prepared. I think that's the Boy Scout motto, isn't it? Yeah. Investigators also said Lippert had drawn a number of sketches showing the victim dead on the floor next to Valdez, the victim hanging with a rope around his neck, and several sexually explicit depictions involving the victim. Ultimately, though, both Valdez and Lippert were arrested and now face the following charges: attempted first-degree murder, armed burglary of a structure, attempted aggravated child abuse with a deadly weapon, possession of a weapon on school property, and aggravated stalking. Last week, prosecutors filed a motion to keep Valdez in jail without bond until the trial concludes. Portions of Valdez and Lippert's conversation from the back of the patrol car were included in the motion, which reads as follows. Valdez told Lippert that they could become one of the lesbian couples in jail. Maybe I should have saved this for Not Safe for Work. Maybe there should be a special dispensation for the beginning of the show.
I mean, you don't have to go to jail to do that. You can just be a couple if you want to.
Yeah, well, why not? Right?
I mean, do your thing. You don't have to kill someone.
Right. You don't have to kill anybody to be together. Lippert replied, yeah, you can be the butch. I'm glad they're picking roles. Valdez replied, hey, this is my bleep. Stay away. I'm glad it was bleeped. Valdez asked Lippert if she was trying to look good for her mugshot. Lippert replied, bleep, and I'm going to get a mugshot. Valdez replied, well, yeah, we are going to jail. What do you think? Valdez told Lippert that she was going to use makeup this morning for her mugshot, but she could not find anything. Lippert replied, I'm glad I don't look too bad today. Valdez replied, I look horrible. Valdez then said, it's over. Lippert replied, yeah, it's over. It doesn't matter that you look good or not. I'm glad they were so laissez-faire about it.
It's just like two teenage girls just having a conversation that seems almost normal, but yet it's like revolving around killing someone. So it makes it super not normal.
Yeah. And going to jail for the rest of their lives. Right.
Yeah.
Just like, and very laissez-faire about it. Just, yeah, man, we're going up the river.
So weird.
Yeah. Valdez then replied, at least they will see me in the mugshot some way or another. Valdez then stated they were supposed to spread our story around the TCC, or the true crime community. I didn't know if you knew there was a TCC.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes, the
We're
TCC.
very popular in it.
That's right. Valdez replied, I thought I would go to a psych ward. That's why I was so excited about everything. I would be so jolly going to jail, Lippert replied. You were wording like you were going to a psych ward, Valdez said. I know, Valdez then stated. I should have told them other blank, like they were asking about her about the swatting incident. So evidently they tried a swatting incident. Valdez stated she started crying, hoping law enforcement would feel bad and send her to the psych ward. So they were trying to manipulate law enforcement when they tried this swatting deal, and it didn't work.
Crazy.
In addition, prosecutors discussed a conversation on the social media platform Discord in which Valdez sent the following messages to Lippert. It's going to be over by tomorrow. If you have some gloves, bring them for me. Bring latex ones. I'm bringing a trash bag, wipes, and some other things. I'm going to go anyways. I have incriminating shit on the phone. Well, you probably should get it off of there.
And just adding more and more incriminating stuff to it.
That's right. Pardon the language here. I'm just quoting from the Discord. So kids, earmuffs until Uncle Timmy's done with the story. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hold your hands over your ears. Here we go. Holy shit, I'm going to make a blood ritual for Adam Lanza. LMAO. Last look for Saint Adam, it says here. Saint Adam? Really?
What?
I don't know. Everyone who preyed on my downfall is getting their wash, is what they said. I'm going to do it with blank, it says. I hug my parents extra tight today. I feel kind of bad for what's coming, was another thing that they messaged to each other. Oh, Jesus. He was at fault because he never got blank talk to me. If I had him, I wouldn't have been like this. Why blank why? I think they're talking about Adam Lanza. If I had
I think you're right.
blanked him, then we wouldn't be in this position. I need to break my hard drive later. In other words, break it in half.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an extra white shirt that I could use? As a result of the evidence, prosecutors argue that Valdez should remain locked up as the trial continues to keep the community safe from harm. The pretrial detention hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. In the meantime, there's a whole nother transcript you can read, but I don't think it's as thrilling as the stuff I just read to you. So there you go. All right. I got to thank our friend Bijou for this next story over in Las Vegas. It is an amazing story, and it comes from Florida. Yes, we start out the first two stories today just from Florida. This one I am going to post so that you guys can watch the video because it is simply amazing. It takes place in a car wash in Florida. Jess, I don't know if you saw this during the week or not, but Florida car wash employees catch a man wielding an axe.
No.
I don't know why you need an axe in a car wash.
I don't think you do.
36-year-old Bryce Thayer is facing charges of aggravated assault. Here is what this man looks like after the people in the car wash got a hold of this man who was wielding an axe.
Good for them, though. I mean, he looks messed up. I think they got him.
Do you know the song Car Wash? You know
what, the car wash?
Yeah, I think they beat him up to the beat of that song because there's that many bruises on this man's face.
I mean, yeah, his eyes swollen shut.
Yeah,
he almost it looks like a death photo from like the 1800s, like when outlaws are killed.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It looks like they took him out to the center of town and just drug him by horse.
Dang.
Yeah,
but that's what you get if you show up to a car wash with an axe,
right? We go to Marion County, Florida, where an Ocala man armed with an axe was arrested after a car wash conflict over the weekend, according to the Marion County Sheriff's Office. In a release, deputies said the incident was reported on Sunday around 8:30 p.m. at the Tidal Wave Auto Spa along Southwest 95th Street Road. That's what I love about Florida. Everything is a street road. It's not one or the other, it's both. Upon arrival, though, they said they found the suspect, identified as 36-year-old Bryce Thayer, being restrained by the 18-year-old victim. That's right. The young buck got on top of the old man and just beat the crap out of him, even though he had an axe. Gotta love it.
Man, if I'm that kid's mom, I'm like proud of him for standing up for himself and not getting anything chopped off.
Yeah, thanks for coming home with all your body parts, kid. Appreciate that. It's going to save us in insurance premiums. Thayer was taken into custody and the investigation revealed that he had approached two employees at the car wash as they were closing. According to the release, he was told to leave the property, at which time Thayer became irate and approached the two victims in a threatening manner while wielding an axe. However, the victim lunged at Thayer to disarm him, ultimately bringing him to the ground, deputies added. Meanwhile, the second victim managed to remove the axe from Thayer's grip. This is when most people would say Thayer was effed. Yeah. The victim restrained Thayer until deputies arrived. The release continues. The victim restrained Thayer until deputies arrived. He was placed under arrest, and a search revealed he was in possession of drug paraphernalia. There's a shock. A guy wandering around a car wash with an axe has drugs on him.
Yeah, not a surprise at all.
Yeah. Thayer now faces charges of possessing drug paraphernalia and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. I find that hard to believe. He is held on bond of how much, Jess? How much do you think they're holding this guy on?
$20,000.
Let's go a little higher.
Like a lot higher or a little higher?
Medium.
All right. 35,000?
A little bit higher than that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
45?
$65,000.
Oh, well, good for them.
Yeah, they decided to kind of layeth the smacketh down on Mr. Thayer.
They're going to say he showed up with an axe not intending to kill anyone, but they're going to make his bond really nice and high so he can't get out again because he's scary.
Right. Let's see if we can play this video for you real quick here so you can take a look at let's see here. That looks like the news report. I don't want the news report. I want the actual axe beatdown. That sounds like an actual either scent or deodorant, doesn't it? The axe beatdown.
All the boys are wearing it in middle school.
That's right. Yeah, they're drowning in it. Axe beatdown. I guess it's not going to pop up for me. That's what she said. Here we go.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Here we go. There's a little bit of the subduing, and do you see the...
Oh, it kind of went all bright, and then it stopped playing.
Did it
You got to push the play button again. It's not doing anything.
Oh, all right. Never mind. Well, we tried. I was going to...
You put it in the show notes. I'll watch it there.
Yeah, I will. I put it in the description of this program, and then I think it pretty much has had it with me today. We're not going to get full cooperation from the iPad today. This is the way it's going to go. All right, our next story comes from another one of our listeners. I'm trying to remember if this came from Tom or who this. I think this came from Tom. By the way, if you have a story for us for a dumb crime, stupid criminal, send it to tim@darknessradio.com. This one's an interesting one. Texas women, plural, tried to fly meth into prison yard using a drone disguised as a crow.
Wow.
That's a little involved, isn't it?
What did they paper mache it so it looks like a bird?
Oh, the art's involved. A little art project.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Paper mache, huh?
Why not? A little glue, a little newspaper.
You know what destroys that? All the crap. A little bit of rain. That's what it does. Yeah. I would think you'd have to maybe do something a little more permanent.
Plaster.
Yeah, plaster.
I don't know. Yeah.
The pair said that they were paid $40,000 to smuggle the contraband into the prison, according to the sheriff's office. I think for $40,000, a little bit more than paper mache. Yeah. You probably want to give it a
I mean, it
little.
depends on how big of a profit you want when you're done. That's an overhead expense.
That's true. Well, what was the thing that you covered the glass Coke bottle with on the outside? And then you put the dye on it. It was like tape and what? Like what kind of dye?
It's tape and glue?
No, it wasn't tape and glue. It was like sepia tone something or another.
Wow.
I don't know. It's art projects of the 70s that high art teachers used to give you. I don't remember. I'm just stereotyping. Don't mind me. I'm just having flashbacks. It's all our guest's fault. It's all Joe Cibelli's fault. Reliving my childhood with Joe Cibelli in the first segment.
Going back in time.
That's right. 2 Texas women have been arrested after allegedly using drones to fly plastic crows containing drugs, phones, and tobacco into a Louisiana prison. 38-year-old Melanie Jean Worthington and 41-year-old Cassie Marie Cole allegedly piloted the crow decoys to federal prison in Grant Parish, which is located in the center of the state. The pair has told authorities that they were paid $40,000 to pull off the drop-off scheme, according to a press release from Grant Parish Sheriff's Office. If this is a picture of one of them, it's pretty darn good. This is supposedly one of the fake crows. I don't think this is paper mache, Jess.
Huh.
That's pretty darn good looking.
It looks like electrical tape is involved.
It might be. Yeah. But I don't think
Interesting.
I don't think that's paper mache.
No, I don't think so either. That's next level.
That is electrical tape. You called it.
Yeah. I know my tape.
It is. It's like that black electrical tape.
Yeah.
In like a button. So they used a button for an eye.
Oh, they did a really good job.
I mean, that's artistic, yeah, but it's, if you don't mind me saying, it's horseshit. But I mean, it's I suppose, yeah, they wanted as much profit as possible.
From a distance, though.
Yeah, from a distance, you wouldn't be able to tell.
know?
But you get up on it, and you'll be like, that is the crappiest crow I've ever seen. Yeah.
That's a wad of tape with a button.
That's a wad of tape with a button. Let me throw that back over the fence. Authorities have not confirmed whether a single drop-off was made using the fake crows or a series of deliveries. Both women have been charged with possession of methamphetamine with the intent to distribute and for taking contraband into a penal institution. You want to see a penal institution? I got one for you. No! Cole also faces a charge of possession of synthetic marijuana with intent to distribute and an outstanding warrant. Boy, these women looked rough after they got caught by authorities. Take a look at this. She almost looks like the daughter of Danhausen right there. That's a wrestling joke.
She has a lot of darkness around her eyes.
Yeah, she does. Looks
tired.
This one right here. She's... Oh.
Yeah, they both look real tired.
Yeah.
They were up late making those duct tape birds.
They were under a deadline. Takes a lot to make really crappy duct tape birds.
They were up all night.
Or electrical tape birds, excuse me. There's a difference between duct tape and electrical tape.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
You have to be a connoisseur. You have to know that stuff, right? Did I tell you here that Cole also faces a charge of possession of synthetic? Yeah, I did. I told you that. Worthington faces a charge of possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. The GPSO shared an image of one of the plastic crows, which I showed Jess. It's not a plastic crow. It's electrical tape, which was even fitted with a black beak and eyes, which is just a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. The fake bird was wrapped with black tape and appeared to have a white package strapped to its back. That's where they keep the snow, man. According to WCTV, Worthington and Cole are the 9th and 10th suspects to be arrested for trying to smuggle contraband into the federal prison in Grant Parish in 2026. So you say they've done this before. The development comes just weeks after a 23-year-old man allegedly tried to smuggle 12 gallons of vodka into the same facility.
Wow.
I guess the jail dance was that night.
That's a lot of vodka. 12 freaking gallons.
That's a lot. John Mitchell from Shreveport was arrested on a charge of taking contraband into a penal institution, according to GPSO. The sheriff's office announced the arrest on February 20th, but has not yet confirmed how Mitchell tried to smuggle the 12 gallons of vodka into the prison. Fake birds.
A pregnancy belly.
That's right, a pregnancy belly.
That's what I would use.
Probably not his prison pocket. We'll put it that way. Yeah. Because
I don't think it's fitting in there.
No, that'd be really shitty tasting vodka. On February 9th, the GPSO confirmed in a statement that the 36-year-old woman who had been arrested for allegedly smuggling psilocybin mushrooms and marijuana into the prison in Grand Parish, Gloria Harmon from Missouri, allegedly tried to transport an amount of mushrooms worth $2,300 into the jail. The marijuana she had allegedly attempted to take into the facility was valued at around $10,000. She was charged with possession of psilocybin mushrooms with the intent to distribute and possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute and taking contraband into a penal institution. What is it with people trying to... Is that really a racket that pays off real well?
I mean, it sounds like there's, money to be made if you can make it happen, but the consequences also probably not great.
Yeah, I don't think, and it doesn't sound like it's a successful venture, right?
No.
Chances are you're going to get caught.
I mean, it makes you wonder, how often stuff does get in, though.
True.
It must work sometimes, or they wouldn't be trying.
Right. I don't know. All right. You thought that was strange. I got a stranger one. They get stranger as we keep going deeper into the program here, Jess. This next one, the headline is, "In the Middle of the Road."
Oh, dead skunk?
No. Almost dead Amazon delivery driver.
Oh, no.
We're, again, staying in Florida for this one. A Florida man climbs into an Amazon delivery van and drives off with the driver inside.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. 64-year-old Joseph Cibelli has been charged with kidnapping, as he should, because he drove off with an Amazon driver inside the van. That's bad, Baldy. Bad. We go to Merritt Island, Florida, where a video shows a Merritt Island man climb into an Amazon delivery van and drive off with the driver inside because the driver wanted to move the truck, the Brevard County Sheriff's Office said. On February 25th, the Amazon driver stopped on Cephas Court to make a delivery when Joseph Cibelli, who's all of 64 years old, in a beige Toyota, yelled at the driver, then got into the van and drove while the driver chased and confronted him, according to an arrest affidavit.
Yeah, he's probably going to get in big trouble if someone just takes his van away.
I would think so. Deputies said the video also shows Baldy throw the van into drive, accelerate, and later slam on the brakes while the driver was inside. The driver also ended up striking his face on a partition.
Ooh,
Ow.
ouch.
Probably from that sudden stop. Oh, God. Owie. Some people's kids, right? I mean, whatever happened to keep your hands to yourself,
Mind your own business.
Mind your own business. Did we buy that for you? Did you buy that for you? If not, then what are you doing playing with it?
Yeah. Don't steal stuff.
Yeah, don't steal stuff. Did you ask permission to play with that? What happened to that whole thing?
I don't know. Clearly this guy was not raised right.
No, he just, decided I'm going to move an Amazon van. I mean, who comes up with that? Who says, I think I'm going to move the Amazon van now? I've never in my life, I have Amazon vans that go by my house probably 10 times a day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a busy drug lord neighborhood, Jess. So, no, I'm kidding. So there's it's just a joke. But there's a lot of Amazon vans that go to and fro, back and forth in the neighborhood. Never once, huh?
Yeah, I see the same. I'm with you.
Never once have I thought, you know what? I'm going to go out there and try and drive one of them.
I'm going to hop in and take a cruise.
I'm going to go out there and drive one of them. I've never once just said to myself, I'm going to go out there and take a spin. I wonder if them's is manual or automatic transmission. Never once have I said that to myself.
Yeah, me neither.
You ever wonder about that, though?
No, I see them out there all the time. Just like you, I'm convinced my neighbors never leave their house to go buy groceries or anything, really. I just watch the delivery people come. And sometimes they'll text me and be like, I'm not home. Can you run my groceries inside?
Really?
Yeah, they get everything delivered. I'm like, don't you like to go to Target and just walk around and come out with $500 worth of stuff that you only went in for like 3 things? It's the greatest.
They're that lazy that they get everything delivered?
I think they're just super busy.
Wow.
They've got little kids and they both work, but I'm just fascinated by it. Like,
I mean,
constant deliveries.
I get a lot of stuff delivered, but I also go out for stuff too.
Yeah, I don't. I've only had delivery once, and then I tipped the kid a bunch because I felt bad for him because our driveway was icy and I had to go out and like pull his hand and drag him up it.
Oh, no.
It's so bad.
I get the heavier stuff delivered.
Yeah. I order a lot on Amazon, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
I do too. Yeah.
Grocery deliveries, I just go get those myself. And then, you buy yourself something nice and pretend like it was part of the grocery list.
Right.
That's why I love Target.
Yeah, exactly. Baldy, by the way, was arrested on charges that include kidnapping and grand theft of a motor vehicle. Maybe he wanted an Amazon van. Maybe that was part of his wish list. So he was going to take one.
Hard to say what was going through his brain, Tim.
No idea.
Thinking there wasn't a lot of rational thought there.
Probably not, no. By the way, our next criminal, Jess, is not of the human species.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Is it a monkey?
No, but we got a little, for our palate cleanser, it is all about monkey business.
Yay.
Today, yeah. No, this criminal is a wild boar.
Ooh, they're dangerous.
They can be. Police chase a wild boar wandering in a mall with a blowgun and riot shields.
Wait. He was in the mall?
Yeah, well, boars need to shop too. Shop till you drop.
There must have been a sale at Wilson Leather.
Yeah. Oh, no. The boar's over there trying to get a leather jacket. Charge it.
That was my dad.
Oh, no. Oh, it's a tragedy and a comedy. A wild boar wandered into a Berlin shopping mall's home decor shop.
He just wanted a new bed.
Yeah. Wanted something to sleep in.
A little ottoman to put his feet up on.
Yeah. Sparking a police response that drew in officers and veterinarians equipped with a tranquilizer gun, shields, and even a blowgun, but ended peacefully. I wonder if they showed up in headhunter gear with the blowgun, because that would be even funnier to, hit all the stereotypes. Why don't we?
I mean, why not? Yeah. I would have rode that boar if I was shopping and I saw a boar wandering around. I'd have hopped on his back and gone for a ride.
Yeah, you would have. Grab him by the tusks and been like, "Come on, buddy."
Yeah, I always wanted a horse, but we never had. We only had pigs, so I used to go out and ride the pigs, and they're pretty fun if you can get on there.
That was my attitude about some of the girls in college. Anyway, you see what I did there?
I asked for that.
I took the joke and I flipped it. Anyway, police said they were alerted to the porcine intruder around 9 a.m. A lot of times that's when I was alerted as well. When it slipped through the sliding glass doors into the mall and started rummaging through the aisles as staff quickly vacated the shop. Berlin's Tierpark Zoo told AFP it deployed a team to the scene in the southeastern Kepenick, that's what it is, district, but quickly assessed that sedating the animal was not possible due to the layout of the premises. Oh, I have a picture of it too. It looks like a doggy. Berlin police released an image on social media showing the wild boar roaming through a store. Here he is right here, trying to find where the couch section is.
Oh, he's a big old boy.
Yeah, he's just like, where can I find the Posturepedic mattresses?
It's like, excuse me.
Yeah, pardon me, sir. I was wondering where I could find your best lazy boy recliner. Officers used pallets and riot shields to divert the animal back outside after cordoning off the mall. Do you suppose they did it civilly, or were they like,
I think they were trying to be nice to him.
You think so?
You know, he was just lost.
They're like, do you suppose you could make your way outside, please? Please, pretty please. Police said the wild boar then returned to the forest, which we assume it came from. That was their statement. Where else was he coming from?
You know, he lived in the apartment complex down the road.
Yeah.
Apartment 4B.
I don't know if you know this, gentleman, but I actually live in the condominiums across town, the rich side of town. I actually came here because I require a new duvet. It was not the first time a wild boar had roamed built-up areas of the German capital, which is surrounded by woods. In July of 2023, a wild boar prowling the streets of southwestern Berlin sparked panic after it was briefly mistaken for a lioness.
What? They look a little different.
Well, it dressed up that night, Jess.
Yeah. I'm not a zoologist, but
it was an animal cross-dresser. Germans have been told to be on the lookout for other wild animals over the years. In May of 2023, residents in the central city of Erfurt were jolted by the sight of a kangaroo hopping across a busy road after escaping from a private property.
It's amazing. That would be the best day of my life.
Well, until it punched you out. I mean,
yeah.
Then, you know. In 2019, it took several days for a deadly cobra to be recaptured in the western town of Herne.
That I could do without.
Yeah, where residents have been told to keep their windows closed and steer clear of all tall grass. And in 2016, zookeepers shot dead a lion after it escaped from its enclosure in the eastern city of Leipzig, and a tranquilizer failed to stop it.
Oh, that's sad.
So evidently the lion didn't get to go to the mall that day. It was all like, "Rawr, want to go to the mall?" And then that was it. So much for the lion.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, on to happier stories. We don't want to think about the lion for too long.
Oh.
Yeah. Today is St. Paddy's Day.
Happy St. Paddy's Day.
That's right. Are you Irish at all? Have any Irish?
Oh, yes, definitely Irish. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You know, you're not falling for the line. You're like, do you have any Irish in you? You're like, yep, Irish, yep.
Oh, yeah, we got Irish in there. We got some McMullins in the background of our family tree.
Some McMullins, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you're familiar with the food, and you know there's some onions and potatoes in there somewhere, at least potatoes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That's probably why I love potatoes so much.
That's right. That's right. Well, one Florida man is getting started on the festivities early, as he's accused of stealing more than $600,000 worth of onions and potatoes this past week to get ready for the holiday.
How many pounds is that? That's crazy.
I think he could feed a whole village, Jess.
Huh.
We go to Tampa, Florida, where a Florida man could face up to 10 years in federal prison for alleged schemes to defraud wholesale produce companies, resulting in more than $600,000 in losses of products such as onions and potatoes. $600,000 worth.
Oh, Lord.
39-year-old man out of Spring Hill, Jason Canals is his name. It sounds like a made-up name. Was arrested and faced with 8 counts of interstate transport of stolen property. That's a RICO charge, by the way. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida, in one scheme, Canals used a company's name and email signature block to send messages to victim companies or requesting produce. Canals reportedly diverted the produce to a new location where shipments were en route and never paid the companies for them. In another scheme, Canals gave companies false documentation that led them to believe that he had prepaid for the produce when he had not. According to officials, the $600,000 loss for the companies is the total between the cost of the produce and its transportation. The indictment also stated the United States intends to forfeit the proceeds that are traceable to the offenses. Interesting. So who gets the onions and potatoes? That's what I want to know.
I mean, the cost of produce has gone up. I can understand the need to find a way to get it.
Right.
But I just bought a bag of potatoes for like $5, and that was like 5 pounds. Imagine how many pounds of potatoes?
$5 for a pound? For how many pounds of potatoes?
5 or 10. I can't remember what size of bag I grabbed. I just grabbed one and ran.
I hope that's 10.
It probably was.
Because I just saw golden potatoes on sale for a 5-pound bag for $3. So you paid a lot if that was 5.
Well, then I must have got the 10-pound. That makes sense.
Let's hope it's 10. I was going to say, where did you go shopping for that? Fort Knox?
You know, the fancy stores, Tim. I only go fancy.
You just went to Lund's and that was it? You just
Target. I was at Target.
I was going to say, holy
They
cow.
had nothing. Did you see my picture? It was like empty. All they had was potatoes and bananas.
And they marked the potatoes up to $50 a potato or what?
Like, this is all you can get. We're going to charge you double. I don't know. It might have been 4 something, but it was right around $5, and it probably was a 10-pound bag. I probably got the biggest bag.
Wow. Well, I suppose it was Snowmageddon, so they were going to charge you double, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Jeez.
Get the poor suckers to come in during the blizzard.
That's
and
right.
There's nothing left.
That's right. So
I feel like I should have got a prize. I mean, like, I braved the elements to be there.
yeah, they should have gave you free potatoes, but no, they're like, you came in during the storm, did you? Well, you're paying double. I don't know.
That I did.
I don't know why the person with the bad Irish accent decided to charge you double, but they did. Too bad on you. All right. Do you have a corned beef dinner planned for tonight?
No.
You're like,
I do not.
No. You looked relieved when I said that. You're like, no, thank God.
I'm just thinking, what do I have? I have a calendar of menu for the week, and I don't think corned beef is on there.
No corned beef.
Sounds like a lot of work.
No, not at all. You just drop it in.
I mean, you throw it in the crock pot, right?
Yeah. Little corned beef and cabbage and your potatoes and your carrots, and you put it all in there. You let her simmer.
Just let it cook all day.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. I mean, if I can do it, Jess, you can do it. Come on.
Yeah, I could probably. I think we're having soup tonight, though.
Oh, how nice.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, kiss my ass. I'm Irish, but I ain't making that crap.
I kind of forgot it was a holiday, if I'm being honest, Tim. I'm just trying to survive.
No worries, Jess. No.
Not even wearing green.
Yeah, I know. I'm not wearing it today either, I guess. I forgot all about it. Been a busy day. Our next story is talking about jail for a man in a felonious karaoke rage. By the way, felonious karaoke rage is the name of our new album.
I love it.
Isn't that a great album name? Felonious karaoke rage.
So good.
Yeah. An incensed perp pulled a gun over a sports bar's broken machine. So he wanted to sing karaoke that bad that he pulled a gun.
Oh, he should have come to my mom's house. We would have sang with him. She loves that.
Really? You're letting this guy in your house?
I mean, he can sing from the outside with the door locked. We'll give him a microphone.
You're just throwing one out. You just put it through the mail slot.
We can still harmonize, but
you can harmonize. Do you know Backstreet Boys, sir? The man who engaged in some gunplay after suffering from a severe case of karaoke rage. By the way, karaoke rage is a great band name. Has pleaded guilty to a pair of felony charges, according to court records, appearing this week before a Florida judge. Yes, we're still in Florida. 35-year-old Aaron Jablonski. Maybe you know his cousin. Hey, would you blow me? Cop to aggravated assault and gun charges in connection with an incident last year outside of a sports bar in Clearwater. How did I know this was Clearwater, Florida? Jablonski, who had been free on $40,000 bond, was taken into custody on Tuesday after entering his guilty pleas. He's scheduled to be sentenced on March 31st. Jablonski was arrested last year following a 2:30 a.m. disturbance outside the Overtime Sports Bar. Police reported that Jablonski had become incensed upon learning that the bar's karaoke machine was inoperable. Upset about the music, the karaoke enthusiast exited the bar, where 27-year-old James Emery tried to get Jablonski to calm down. That's a quote. According to an arrest affidavit, instead of cooling off, Jablonski pulled a Glock 9mm from his waistband and pointed it at the man, saying, "I don't effing care."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, he's that serious about his karaoke. Yeah, don't mess with his karaoke. Jablonski, by the way, police reported, fired one round into the air. Then he waved his hands like he just didn't care. And then he wanted more karaoke. Like this, Jess, like this. Yeah.
I wonder what he was going to sing. I mean, I just wonder what his go-to songs are.
I think it started with Backstreet's Back All Right. I don't know.
Yeah. That could be.
Yeah. It was illegal for Jablonski to possess a handgun, by the way, since his rap sheet includes a 2012 felony conviction or battery on a law enforcement officer. He also has been convicted of DUI, disorderly conduct, theft, resisting an officer with violence, and violating probation. But he really is a nice guy, so let's give him a chance, shall we? Jablonski's preferred karaoke song remains a mystery, one that has not been addressed in the months of court filings. So maybe a judge will finally get down to it.
Yeah, I'm guessing Jailhouse Rock, maybe.
Yeah.
Wholesome Prison Blues.
Murder Was the Case by Snoop Dogg. Yeah.
There are a lot of options.
There are a lot of options. Sure. I mean, they're endless. They really are.
Oh,
yeah.
I bet he has a great voice, though. A lovely singing voice. Probably a soprano.
Oh, I see what you did there. See? I was going to say, especially when they haven't bent over in the jail cell. Yeah. Now, I have a very, very bizarre story before we get to our not safe for work category this week. This story just, I don't know what to think of it. I really don't know what to think of this, except for it's the most bizarre headline I think I've read yet this year. I'm just going to come out and read the headline. You ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. What people are getting wrong this week? Did dolphins kidnap a Florida man?
Yes. Let the answer be yes.
Let the answer be yes. All right. Let's get to it, shall we, and find out. Because Jess is wanting the answer to the story very much to be yes. I don't think it is. Breaking news out of Florida. Lee County deputies reportedly arrested a man recently on the beach near the Sanibel Causeway. The unnamed suspect was found dripping wet and drawing detailed diagrams in the sand. I'm just painting the picture for you here now, Jess. He's dripping wet, drawing diagrams in the sand.
Yeah.
So we're already starting with a rich little picture for you. He told officials
sounds a little unhinged, but
maybe that's where the story starts. Right? Okay. He told officials that he'd been kidnapped by dolphins, pulled under the surface, and forced to build an underwater city. Oh, it's getting good. The man said the head dolphin, Gerald, communicated with him through clicks and found some way to help him breathe for days, several days. There's more details in the TikTok video that's been viewed over 5 million times in the last few days. Yes, there's a TikTok video for this that I'll actually post this one in the description of the program as well, so you can watch the TikTok video of this guy and how Gerald clicked at him.
And let him breathe underwater for days.
Let him breathe underwater for days. He claimed that he was forced to help build an underwater city. There's more here. It takes a minute to load because there's so much to this story here. So give me just a second.
Built an underwater city.
Yeah. Now, first of all, are we buying this yet, Jess? Are we?
I'm all in.
You're all in? You think this is okay?
I mean, I love it. So
that's good. As it turns out, so unsurprisingly, the story is false. No one was arrested. Why would they be arrested even if this did happen? The incident never occurred, it says here in the story. Now, there's an interview here with the guy, and I'll just read a snippet of the interview. I don't know why there's an interview with this guy, but there is. Stephen Johnson is the guy's name. Or Justin Gregg. Okay, so this is Stephen Johnson, Justin Gregg. I don't know why are these two people going back and forth? Oh, it's okay. It says a patient dolphin expert debunks these and other dolphin claims.
Oh, okay.
The guy who wrote the article says, I talked with Justin Gregg of the Dolphin Communication Project to get the truth about our aquatic pals or nemesises. Greg is an animal cognition expert, a dolphin scientist, and author of Are Dolphins Really Smart? If anyone knows the truth about dolphin soggy cities, it's Justin Gregg. So this guy asks, do dolphins use humans for construction projects in aquatic environments? Justin Gregg says, no, it's insane. Absolutely not. And he says, do dolphins even live in underwater cities? He says, no, that's also insane. First of all, they don't build anything. They don't have thumbs. He says, maybe that's why they need to kidnap people. I love how this guy thinks. He's going to the edge of crazy, right? And he's hoping for an answer. The expert says, look at it this way. Why do humans build shelters? Because it's raining or whatever. Are dolphins protecting themselves from the rain? No, it's already wet. This guy with the logic over here, with the logic.
I mean, it's kind of boring. I mean, I'm sure he's very, very smart, but there's all kinds of things under the water that we don't know about.
Right. But then this guy asks, okay, but should dolphins live in cities?
Obviously, yes.
Right. This guy goes, dolphins are not stationary animals. They have places to go and things to do. There would be no purpose to them having a city. Everything about them is evolved to help them be free swimming animals that live in groups that swim around. It's like asking, why don't dogs fly? You know why dogs don't fly? Because they don't have wings.
Exactly. But if they did, they would.
They'd fly everywhere.
And if there was some dude who offered to help them build a city, the dolphins under the water, they'd be like, yeah, come on down.
And you know what? I'll tell you this much. If dogs flew, people would be catching a crap in their eye all the time.
Oh, gosh.
That just came up right here, right in the old genius pot. Right
they'd be pee. You'd be getting hit with the head with pee all the time. They'd be marking their territory everywhere.
That's right. I don't know. It's kind of a pointless little thing. Okay, so the author says still, the fact that enough people believe the story that the sheriff's office had to issue a statement denying it says something about the strange place dolphins hold in their cultural collective unconscious. If this story was about sea otters, no one would have believed it.
They wouldn't have interviewed a sea otter expert. I can tell you that.
That's right. Dolphins have been the center of conspiracy theories since the 1960s, when the world's leading dolphin researcher ascribed superhuman powers to the sea mammals. And the kidnapping story is a little like something that actually happened. So
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So the guy tried to put one over on police this week. It's kind of a fun little.
I think you should turn it into a movie. I'd watch it.
The man who was kidnapped by dolphins to
build
a
it
city.
could be animated. It'd be really cute.
It would be, wouldn't it? All right, it's time now for Not Safe for Work. We've already had a few stories that have straddled that edge. So if you've had the kids in the room, I'm sorry. We don't try to do that on a regular basis. You'll have a lot of explaining to do after the show's over. For those who still might have some kids who are chaste or chaste, well, then put little headphones on them and let them watch Bluey. For your boss who's been listening, we'll put headphones on him and make him watch Bluey with them. And we'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. This next story, Jess, is a little shitty. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Florida man is arrested after 2 attempts to steal a septic tank from a construction site.
What? Why? Why would you want that? Why?
Big money and shit.
That's to be so stinky.
I know, right?
Oh.
We go to Denellen, Florida, where a Florida man was arrested after he made 2 attempts to steal a septic tank from a construction site in Denellen, according to a surveillance footage from February 22nd. Marion County Sheriff's Office said its deputies responded to a reported theft at a construction site on the 21600 block of West Highway 40. MCSO posted surveillance footage of a man, Alfio Nocifora, attempting to steal a septic tank with his Toyota Corolla. Now, I want you to think about size differential here. Septic,
I love it.
Septic tank,
Yep.
Toyota Corolla. Septic tank, Toyota Corolla.
This is ambitious. I like this guy's moxie that he thinks he can do this.
Yeah. Deputies said Nocifora's plan went completely down the drain, that's in quotes, after he cannot maneuver the tank onto his car. According to the footage, he continued to push and lift the tank until a Jeep Cherokee drove past him. Nocifora climbed into the driver's seat and sped off, leaving the tank behind. Nocifora returned to the location on February 23rd with a rented U-Haul truck. We'll try it a different way.
This might work.
This might work.
There's a chance.
He loaded the septic tank onto a ramp and then onto the truck, along with around $2,500 worth of electrical pipe. Nocifora covered the license plate and U-Haul identification number on the truck with tape. The sheriff's office said a detective identified him and he was arrested in Citrus County. He was charged with grand theft, unlawful use of a two-way device, and intentionally obscuring a license plate during the commission of a crime. Oh, Alpho. Not that bright, really.
No, that's what landed him here.
Why do you need a septic tank that badly?
I mean, really, what on earth?
I mean,
really, you got to be able to find one that's not used somewhere.
Was the family, was it Beans night at the house and they blew out the old one? I can't think of why you would need a new septic tank.
It's just very strange. I'm sure they're expensive to replace, so he's just trying to be frugal.
I'm sure. All right. Going to show you a picture here, Jess. And I'm going to ask you if you recognize what this object is right here.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at an X-ray, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to come in closer. Hopefully I don't bump my microphone. Glasses on. It looks like tongs, maybe?
Looks like what?
Like the tongs that you use to like pick stuff up or flip your burger meat or whatever. Right?
I'm sure this guy wishes they were tongs.
What is that?
I'll tell you what that is. You ready for this?
And how did he get it in there?
I can see where you would think that's tongs, but it's not tongs. The man in question has been known as Thermos Man.
That's a thermos?
That's a thermos. That was...
He did not shove that up his butt, did he?
He did.
Oh, brother, why?
Thermos Man has been released from the cooler. The ex-con, who had an insulated beverage cooler crammed into his rectum when he was busted on drug charges, has just cut a plea deal that resulted in his release from a Florida lockup. How old and worn in the backside do you think you have to be to get a thermos up there, Jess?
I'd say pretty old and pretty worn.
52-year-old Walter Freimeyer pleaded no contest.
Walter.
No. Walt. Walt seems like the kind of guy who probably accidentally sat on his coffee thermos one day on the job and went, "Oh, I think I can commit a life of crime by smuggling drugs into jails." Right?
Maybe. I mean,
yeah. He pled no contest Friday to possession of a meth pipe and threatening a sheriff's deputy. According to court records, a felony drug charge was dropped by prosecutors as part of a negotiated plea deal. Freimeyer, who has been locked up since his October arrest, was sentenced to 180 days. He was freed from jail on March 6th after serving 5 months in custody. Freimeyer was arrested after cops responded to a report of a naked man inside a Winter Haven Park bathroom. When an officer first contacted Freimeyer, who was fully clothed, he was carrying a gray lunchbox holding his meth pipe. What cops did not realize at the time was that Freimeyer was still in possession of another lunchbox standard. While Freimeyer was subsequently being booked into the Polk County Jail, he went through a full body scanner designed to identify contraband like hidden drugs or weapons. Instead, corrections workers spotted a full-size thermos inside Freimeyer's body. The local sheriff felicitously explained that the item had entered Freimeyer's body a day earlier via the exit ramp. That is a quote. During treatment at a local hospital, the thermos was extracted from Freimeyer. By the way, this is what it looks like when you've had a thermos extracted from your exit ramp.
It looks pretty calm.
That's the drugs, Jess. That's the drugs.
Like, just another day.
He's like, that's how much Dilaudid
Not in there
need.
for a day, though. Can you imagine 24 hours with a thermos up your ass?
That's the name of my new album, by the way. 24 hours with a thermos up my ass. No, I can't imagine that. I can't. I cannot. I will not. I must not. The minute I start to think about that, I know.
Yeah, full body cringe.
Yeah. Like my entire lower body spasms when I start to think about that. Yeah, so no, I won't.
You just pucker up.
I do. I go, "Ugh," like that. Yeah. During treatment at a local hospital, the thermos was extracted from Freimeyer. The discovery of the item did not result in additional charges since it's not illegal to have a thermos stashed inside a body cavity. So kids, remember that when you go ice fishing.
It's not against the law. It's just frowned upon.
Yeah, it's just, it's getting it out. That's the problem. It's not putting it up there. It's getting it out.
And it was way up there. I mean, it wasn't just like, kind of in there. It was fully committed up into his stomach cavity.
He was pregnant with a thermos. Yeah. Yeah, they were like, "Congratulations, Mr. Freimeyer. You're pregnant with a baby thermos." Yeah.
That's crazy.
Freimeyer has an extensive rap sheet. There's a shock, which includes, you think he does? Because he knows how to squeegee away a big old thermos. It includes numerous stays in county and state correctional facilities where he is proven to be a menace by spitting on corrections workers and breaking sprinkler systems. And let me guess, knowing how to smuggle in contraband. He knows how to do that too. Good God.
I mean, when you've got those type of prison pocket skills, it's not your first time stashing something in there.
His prison purse is a full handbag. I mean, look at that thing. This thing is at the bottom of his rib cage.
It's like so in there. It's crazy. Like his rectum is a good foot away from where that ends.
his rectum is a damn near killed him, is what it is. I mean, look at that.
I'm so confused by how he's even functioning right now. Like,
I tell you this much, he's never going to tap dance again. I know that much. Oh, if he ever did tap dance to begin with.
wow, that is just something else.
Isn't that fun? I know this much. I'm never going to ask him to hold my piggy bank.
Or anything else for that matter.
Right.
Hey, can you hold my car keys?
Do you think his wife ever goes, hold my purse, and it disappears?
Can you hold my baby? Where did it go?
Where'd the kid go? Hold on. You know? All right. Where's Phoebe Buffet?
She's hiding.
Does she have earmuffs on? For our next story.
I won't let her listen.
Okay.
What are you going to tell me? This is going to make me sad.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Next story is out of Florida, and you know it's bad when you see this picture.
Oh, no. The dog's eyes have been blotched out, so we can't tell its identity.
Yes, the dog's eyes have been blacked out, so you can't tell the husky's identity. The dog has been shamed.
Oh, no.
Oh, like the dog did something bad, but the other two are...
The dog is innocent, so we have to protect his identity. Oh, poor baby. What did they do to him? I'm scared.
All right. It's time to get serious. I just find the photo funny. I mean, the story's not
too funny.
But the photo's funny. The dog's like, it was me.
He's redacted.
He's redacted. With me. The other two are like, guilty as F.
Yeah, we did something real bad.
We did something real bad. Meanwhile, the husky's like, can't remember.
Did somebody say treat?
Got the memory of a flea. All right, we're back in Florida. A woman blamed a curious dog in a pet sex case.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
She says the husky was curious.
He was asking for it.
That's what she says. I guess that's why he has the bar over his eyes.
I'm dying right now.
She's shaming the dog.
Well, he came in here dressed like that, so he wanted it.
He had a mask over his eyes, so he was dressed for BDSM. 2 Floridians are busted for sex acts with a male husky. People, have some scruples. Have some morals. The Florida woman charged with receiving oral sex from her dog confessed to the crime and told cops that the male husky named Loki was just being curious. I don't think that's possible, is it?
No. I mean, it certainly, if it starts to happen, you can stop it.
Right.
You can't just oopsie doops like my dog's.
Oopsie doops.
My dog's giving me oral sex. Oopsie. I mean,
oopsie doops. Well, we'll just let that go on for 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, Lord God.
36-year-old Christina Calello and 39-year-old Jeffrey Springer, Jerry's cousin, and I don't know about that, were arrested Tuesday and charged with sexual activity involving animals, which is a felony. Police identified Springer as Calello's former boyfriend. Evidently, the husky is now her boyfriend.
She did cheat on him, so...
Yep, there's that. Investigators say they recently recovered a video, which was shot by Springer, showing the animal performing oral sex on his ex-girlfriend.
Come on. He videotaped it?
There's class for you, Jess.
Oh,
The video was stored on a flash drive in a folder titled XXX Sex Videos Loki. Oh, he's got his own folder.
oh, that poor dog. This
Yeah.
is not the first time they abused him.
No, it's not. The recording was made in May or June of 2022, according to a complaint that does not reveal how police obtained Springer's personal USB drive. Springer identified Colello as the woman in the video, according to cops who noted that both Colello and the woman in the clip have a heart-shaped tattoo on her hip area. Additionally, Springer said Colello has engaged in 30 to 50 sexual acts with the dog in a time span of 8 years.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. After being read her rights, Colello reportedly admitted to the dog possibly performing oral sex on her numerous times due to the dog being curious. Yeah, curious. Right. Video evidence, cops say, showed Colello not making any motions or gestures to stop the sexual act. So she wasn't stopping anything whatsoever. Colello and Springer were released from the Pinellas County Jail. Colello was free on $5,000 bond. That's it. While Springer was released on his own recognizance. The pair reside in separate homes in the Tampa Bay area. Court filings do not indicate how long Colello and Springer were a couple or when they broke up. Colello was arrested in May for allegedly hitting, scratching, and biting Springer during an argument in her Safety Harbor apartment. Prosecutors subsequently declined to pursue a misdemeanor domestic battery charge against Colello. Loki was seized by police and taken to a pet hospital where an examination showed no signs of injury to the canine. But mental abuse up the yin.
I mean, that dog's so confused.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens to him? Does he go to a family who adopts him and just
Do you have a dog therapist? I mean,
is he likely to become an offender? Is he going to become a perpetrator? What do you do with this dog?
I guess. I don't know.
Well, he's probably a sexual pervert and he doesn't even know it.
He is now.
He's like, oh my, you're going to the bathroom? I know what to do.
I'll wipe. I mean, no, that's horrible. But no, I mean, but yeah, I mean, now the dog is trained.
Yeah. In the worst, weirdest kind of way.
Yeah. So no, you're right. You're right. So yeah, now the dog is ruined, so to speak. Is this Oh yeah. I forgot this story was in there.
Oh no.
This is an interesting one. I think it's a shorty though, if I remember right. Oh, I'm having one of those days here with the old iPad. Here we go. This next one, I guess, is the good side of canines.
Okay.
A suspect ditches his motorcycle, pants, and shoes while being pursued by a Thurston County canine. Sometimes you have to, if you're a suspect and you're running from a canine cop, you need to get rid of as much as possible.
I feel like it would take you too long to get your pants off.
Some people can do it in a hurry, Jess.
I guess.
A motorcycle rider who ran from deputies in Thurston County, Washington, was tracked down and arrested after a canine team followed a trail of discarded clothing and gear to a tarp where the suspect was hiding, according to a Thurston County Sheriff's Office canine unit. The sheriff's office said the two sergeants were involved in the motorcycle pursuit Thursday night, and the canine team was called in. A deputy said that after a brief pursuit, the rider ditched the motorcycle and fled on foot, also apparently parting ways with his shoes somewhere along the escape route. Canine Asher arrived shortly afterwards and began tracking, the sheriff's office said. Deputies said the suspect tried to get away by clearing several tall fences, but left behind a helpful trail of personal belongings, including a jacket, backpack, and riding pants. Would those be chaps?
That's the only type of riding pants I can envision.
I guess. Although the track was briefly lost, The sheriff's office said Asher directed deputies to a tarp at a nearby home where the suspect had decided to hide at that point. Oh, this would be interesting.
So his thought process was, if I ditch everything I'm wearing, the dog can't smell me anymore.
Right. Yeah. Essentially, at that point, maybe there's no scent. So the dog has to try and find me at that point, which is the worst thought ever.
It makes no sense. Your body's the thing that makes your stuff smell like you.
Right. I mean, that's like the old trope. Well, if I jump in the water, he won't be able to find me either. Right.
Oh.
That's like, well, if I just take a good shower, the dog will never be able to find me. Let's see if there's more to this story here. So after some canine-assisted persuasion, the suspect reconsidered his options and surrendered to deputies without incident, according to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office also did not release the suspect's name or say what charges the person may face, other than public stripping, I guess. So,
he was streaking.
Yes, streaking in the quad. So there's that. Speaking of streaking in the quad, Jess, we go to Fairfax County, where one burglar has decided he's got it down pat just how he's going to get away with burglarizing a neighborhood. You can't identify the face when they've got other things to look at.
Oh, distracting us with other body parts.
That's right. Do it in the nude, right?
Yeah, I mean, that would work.
That's right. A nude burglar has targeted a Fairfax neighborhood, according to police. Fairfax County police are looking for a man who say they say committed a series of recent burglaries in Centerville while fully nude. I somehow, we're going to Centerville, Virginia. I somehow think this is almost genius.
Yeah.
Except for, how do you carry stuff out?
I mean, there's that.
You don't have pockets.
Well, you have one pocket, as our one gentleman proved to us. You can fit quite a lot in there.
If you have a thermos. Right? But, I mean, you have nothing to keep tools in, right? Yeah, unless you're wearing a tool belt. You know.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know. What you just break in, grab what you can, and run.
Yep, I guess. Fairfax County police detectives are asking for the public's help in locating a man they say committed a string of recent burglaries in the Centerville area while nude, according to authorities. Officers responded around 4:30 a.m. That's kind of early or late, depending on how you look at it, on a Saturday on the 14700 block of Ealing Court in Centerville to investigate a burglary in progress. The victim was awakened by her dog barking and observed a fully nude man inside her home. I'm going to stop this right here. Jess, you're in your home. It's 4:30 in the morning. You wake up and there's a fully nude man in your home.
Mm-hmm.
What's your first reaction?
Get my gun. And then kindly ask him to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I might give him a robe too, just to be nice.
Just put this on and leave?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The suspect fled before officers arrived. Officers canvassed the area but were unable to locate the suspect. Detectives responded to the scene and assumed the investigation. Investigators were able to link Saturday's burglary to a series of similar incidents that occurred in the same neighborhood, according to police. In each case, the suspect entered the home via an unsecured door.
Lock your doors, people.
Because where's he going to keep a lockpick?
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't bust a window or anything. You don't have a sleeve to like cover your hand with or a coat or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do that with your bare flesh.
Turns out on March 5th, the suspect got in through a bedroom and fled the residence when confronted. The victim was getting ready for work at the time. This was at 5:15 a.m. He loves early mornings.
No, he's just out for an early morning jog or something.
Yeah.
You know, like.
He's an early morning riser, evidently.
He should apply that time to do something productive, like write a novel or something.
Right. March 6th at 5:30 a.m., a resident discovered a footprint, on a trash can that had been moved against a fence. and believed to have been used to climb into the backyard. Evidence indicated an attempted burglary at the residence. March 7th, the victim was awakened by her dog barking and saw a nude male suspect inside the residence before he fled. March 8th, the victim heard footsteps in the hallway and saw the nude suspect standing in the doorway before he fled. Do you think he was like, cover, discover, cover, discover, and then he took off? Police described the suspect as a black man of average build with light or medium complexion who is between 5'9" and 5'10" tall.
I was surprised they got all of that.
Right? Like they were actually able to look him up and down, and he must be of average build then as well.
Yes, yeah. It must be nothing else very,
remarkable.
Remarkable, exactly.
Right. Investigators believe the same suspect committed all 4 burglaries. Officers are conducting targeted enforcements in the neighborhood as part of the investigation. So,
do you think he wears shoes, or do you think he's barefoot too?
That's a good question.
I mean, because running away barefoot, that would be hard.
Unless you're a barefoot marathon runner.
Oh, just taking barefoot marathon training to the next level.
Yeah. He's trying to be more aerodynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
Yeah. Jess, have you ever gotten a deal so good you've been so excited you don't know what to do with yourself?
I don't think I've ever gotten a deal that good.
No? Never been at Target and went, oh my God, that deal is so good.
I mean, I did get a shirt there once for like $3 that I thought was super cute.
Oh my God.
$3.99. I know.
How did you celebrate?
Well, I stuck it in my groceries and pretended like I didn't buy it so that my husband wouldn't know that it wasn't just grocery shopping.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. I celebrated by wearing it, Tim.
There you go. Well, one man in Ohio has a totally different way of celebrating his purchases at Walmart. An Ohio man was arrested after allegedly inappropriately touching himself in the Walmart parking lot.
Wow, that is excited.
That's excited.
I didn't even think to celebrate like that.
No?
No, that never crossed my mind. What was I thinking?
Just like, I got a great deal on that dorm fridge. Woo!
Woo!
Not like, yeah. No. We go to Boardman, Ohio, where an Ohio man was arrested after he inappropriately touched himself in a Walmart parking lot, police say. According to WFMJ, the Fmidge, 36-year-old Larry Kelly Jr. is facing multiple charges after he allegedly inappropriately touched himself in a Walmart parking lot. Although, in all fairness, there are a lot of RVs in the parking lot at a Walmart.
Yeah. Often.
Yeah. So how do you know he wasn't just a camper there that, thought he was at home?
I mean, I think you still got to go inside the RV to do it.
What if he was in his RV?
Well, then leave the man alone. Let him celebrate.
Then technically he's in his living room, isn't he? And aren't you interfering in his living room?
Why are you looking in his windows, you creep?
Right. I don't know. Let's read the story and find out. Per the report, Kelly was in the parking lot of a Walmart on Doral Drive on the morning of February 27th. When speaking with law enforcement, a woman said she woke to a man tapping on her window. Oh, no, he was not in his RV.
Ew.
She woke to a man tapping on her window after she dozed off in her car. Well, first of all, why are you sleeping in the parking lot at Walmart?
Excuse me, ma'am. Why are you taking a nap in Walmart parking lot? That's weird.
That is like the last place I would fall asleep.
I would be so scared to sleep in the Walmart parking lot because exactly what's happening to her is what I would think would happen to me.
There's only 2 things that are going to happen. Well, 3 things that are going to happen in the Walmart parking lot. 1, someone's going to come up and try to wash your windows and ask for change.
Right.
2, someone's going to come up and ask if you're going to stay parked in that parking spot and can they have it.
Yeah.
And 3, someone's going to masturbate on your windows. That's all that's going to happen in a parking lot Walmart. So the woman said she let Kelly know she was okay. She was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just taking a little nap. I'm good. So he returned to his vehicle, which was parked next to hers, the report states. There, he allegedly began performing sex acts on himself. He was like, oh, she was dead. I don't know what he was doing. Then honked his horn before asking if the woman wanted to join him.
Wow.
Yeah. If you get that kind of indecent proposal at the Walmart, Jess, are you jumping in on that deal?
I mean, that's his pickup line.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I thought you were half dead in that car, but I'm over here whacking it. You want to come on over?
Oh, no, thank you.
Some people's kids, you know?
Oh, heavens.
I mean, there's better lines, guys. There's just better lines. The woman then informed the suspect that she was calling law enforcement, which was probably the appropriate line. I am calling law enforcement. Days later, on Tuesday, March 3rd, the suspect pulled into the same Walmart. Again, his mistake to go back to the same scene of the crime.
This is just his favorite place to masturbate or what?
It's his favorite place to pick up women, evidently.
It's his special place.
Yeah. An employee said she went to Kelly's vehicle to deliver a curbside pickup order when he told her that he wasn't feeling well. Per the report, after she replied, sometimes life is hard, the suspect allegedly responded, that's not the only thing that's hard.
Oh, no.
Then reportedly began performing sex acts on himself.
That poor girl. She's just trying to be nice.
What does this woman look like? That everywhere she goes, guys are just grabbing the old pole and jerking off to her.
I mean, I feel like this guy could be anyone. It could be my grandma.
Yeah, but it's like two different times she goes to Walmart. Guys are just like, you know.
No, I think it's the same guy and different girls, isn't it?
Is it?
I think the one was a customer napping in the car,
okay,
and this one was like just probably a teenage girl working her boring job at Walmart.
Okay, it is. You're right. It's the same guy. Yeah. Okay. Same guy, different girl. Okay. It's like, dear God.
Oh, both scenarios is messed up though.
This guy needs some help. Though.
Oh.
She says sometimes life is hard, and he's like, that's not the only thing that's hard. I mean, come on, Spider Monkey, put it away.
If she was doing this show, I would say you set yourself up for that. But
right, but
delivering a Walmart package to a customer, no,
that's not the place.
I mean, the line, you're setting yourself up for the line, not the action.
Right, not the action. Right, the line, yeah, the line is funny.
Yeah,
but keep it in your pants, Jesus.
Yeah, goodness.
Good night, Irene. Kelly turned himself into law enforcement on March 10th and was charged with public indecency. 2 charges, by the way. He's scheduled to appear in court. Well, he was just the other day. I don't know what happened. He probably pulled it out in front of the judge and got it whacked off. I mean, not by the judge, but I mean, like, with a cleaver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Those are not the only 2 times he's done this.
No.
There's no way. No. This is like just what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's probably gotten away with it a half dozen times. Yeah. Until someone finally turns him in.
Yikes.
Good Lord. All right. We've got one more story and then our palate cleanser. You ready for this? This is the coup de grace. This is the main event. This is the show to end all shows.
No.
I'm going to show you a picture.
I'm bracing myself.
Just gonna say, Jess, what do you think of this gentleman right here?
Right. He looks normal-ish. Actually looks like someone I know.
Does he?
What did he do?
What did he do? What does he look like he did, first of all?
Well, probably something pervy.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
Did he expose himself?
Close.
Did he masturbate with fruit?
Wow, that is specific. No, not as bad as that. But
okay.
Did you know there's such a thing as lap lifting?
No, don't know what that means.
I'll tell you. That guy that you just saw the picture of was arrested for lap dance theft spree. In other words, getting a lap dance and not paying for it.
Well, that ain't cool.
But
she worked hard for that.
She works hard for the money. I think that was Donna Summer, wasn't it? But then doing it in a serial manner. So, like, he'd get a lap dance here, a lap dance there, a lap dance everywhere, and not pay for it.
Huh.
You can get arrested for that.
And you should. It's stealing.
There's some guys out there like, you can? But yeah, you can. This accused lap lifter, that's what it's called, instead of a shoplifter, ran up a $650 strip club tab. And yes, we're going back to Florida, where a Florida man has been arrested for allegedly lap lifting from a strip club, according to records. Police allege that 46-year-old Roberto Maldonado got 15 straight private dances early on Friday morning at Rain, which is a gentleman's club in Clearwater. We've been in Clearwater a lot today.
We really have.
Yeah. The dances cost $40 a piece. An additional $50 review fee brought his tab up to $650.
What's a review?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a surcharge when you start. I don't know. However, after Maldonado enjoyed the lap dance marathon, he refused to pay the stripper's total bill, instead offering only $50. Oh, he was bartering.
Oh.
I like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He subsequently refused to pay any amount, according to an arrest report. When police arrived at the club around 1:15 a.m., a cop explained to Maldonado, who appeared under the influence, that payment was required for the services he had requested and received. Maldonado, cops say, spoke incoherently and was speaking in circles. He refused to make any effort to pay the lap dance balance. Maldonado was arrested and booked into the county jail, where he spent the night before being released on his own recognizance. A judge has ordered him to stay away from Rain and other bars or clubs, and prohibited him from using alcohol or illegal drugs. Maldonado must also submit to any alcohol or drug testing requested by the court or law enforcement officials. While statutorily charged with theft, a misdemeanor, Maldonado actually engaged in lap lifting, the preferred Sunshine State portmanteau for lap dancing plus shoplifting. How's that for fun? And with that,
got to pay for those. Got to pay for those lap dances, Tim.
That's right. You got to put money down. It's a trust system. We have a trust system in this country between us and our entertainers, Jess.
That's right. You're going to give me $40. I'm going to shake my little thing around your lap. And if you try to leave without giving me my money, breaking the law.
That's right. Breaking the law. Breaking the law. And you're going to jail. Take me to jail. All right. It's time now for our palate cleanser. I think we've had our palate assaulted enough today. It needs to be cleansed.
Oh, it certainly does.
Yes, indeed. So we'll stay in Florida for this, because there's monkey business at Silver Springs. The search for Florida's wild macaques is on. Florida's strange wildlife encounter comes from a long walk and a lot of listening. So we're looking for wild monkeys today, Jess.
Ooh.
Yeah. We go to Silver Springs, Florida, where the plan is simple. Get on the water, scan the shoreline, and spot the famous monkeys of Silver Springs State Park. The reality is a lot messier. A clear kayak trip delivers classic Florida wildlife like gators, otters, and birds, but no monkeys. The guide's best advice is that the animals have been hanging out deeper in the park, so the search moves to land. The trail stretches on long enough that the exact timeline is better left unspecified. After a while, expectations drop and the goal becomes finding anything at all. A loop where monkeys... Oh, and then the monkeys disappeared. Oh, see, they disappeared on my screen, too. They disappeared in the story, and then they disappeared. Yeah. See, the macaques.
They're sneaky.
They are. Those macaques. Look at them. Oh, macaques. Oh. And then they froze up my...
Well, I didn't know that Florida had monkeys.
They do. They have macaques.
Huh.
Macaque monkeys. So even when the monkeys are in the area, seeing them can take some patience. The best strategy is often to listen. So macaques travel in groups, and sound can give them away before they even come into view. On this day, the sun sinks, mosquitoes come out, and camera batteries start running low, but the energy changes the moment the troop shows up. It's also a reminder worth keeping that these are wild animals, and you want to keep your distance, do not feed them, and remember, they are watching back. And let me show you a picture of what one of these little guys looks like. It's so darn cute, Jess. I'm telling you right now. This is what the little macaque monkeys look like. And when you go looking for them,
oh,
look at them.
I want to see one.
I know. They just kind of show up.
I'm going to be looking for those next time I go to Florida.
See? They just kind of show up. Although I don't know if I agree with the feeding them thing. I want to feed them. Although it can be dangerous to feed them.
You might rip your face off.
No, they don't do that. They don't. Okay, so the second monkey story I have is about a different kind of monkey. Okay? But actually, this is kind of funny. I mean, at least to me, it was kind of funny. But I have a weird sense of humor. Bonobos are just as aggressive as chimps, but there's a key difference. The female bonobos. Now, this is the kinds that'll rip your face off or maybe rip something else off, especially if you're the male bonobo. Here we go. A new study of chimpanzee and bonobo groups at zoos reveals similar levels of aggression. However, scientists found stark sex-based differences between the species. See, this is what a bonobo looks like. It looks almost like a chimpanzee.
Oh.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one looks mad.
He's a little mad, or she's a little mad. She's a little mad. Hippie bonobos are just as aggressive as warrior chimpanzees, according to a new study. However, the findings also reveal some key details about which sex is instigating the aggression. Bonobo females were more likely to attack males, while male chimps were more aggressive towards females. Female-on-female aggression in both species, they found, was significantly lower. The work was in captive animals and zoos, so it may not apply to wild bonobos and chimps, but it adds to a growing body of recent research suggesting bonobos aren't as peace-loving as once described. I don't think that they're as peaceful as previously thought, study co-author Nikki Stays, a researcher at the Antwerp Zoo Center for Research and Conservation in Belgium, told Live Science. Bonobos, or paniscus, and chimpanzees are our closest living relatives. The two species are geographically separated by the Congo River in Africa and evolved from a common ancestor between 1.5 and 2 million years ago. Although they are closely related, chimps and bonobos look and behave differently. Bonobos are smaller with a more slender build, and the differences between the sexes are less pronounced than in chimpanzees. Bonobo communities are led by female coalitions. This is seen as a strategy for females to gain power over the larger males. So ladies, pay attention. All right. Chimpanzees, on the other hand, have males at the top of their hierarchies. Aggression is an important social behavior in apes as it helps them protect territory, identify mates, assert dominance, and secure resources. This aggression can range from vocal expressions of anger to physical attacks. In the past, bonobos were seen as chimps' peace-loving hippie cousins because they were thought to be less warlike and more likely to use sex to resolve conflict. Which is hysterical. But recent studies have started to upend that idea. In one recent reported incident, 5 wild female bonobos viciously attacked a male in the Democratic Republic of Congo. In the new research published Wednesday in the journal Science Advances, researchers show that bonobos are just as aggressive as chimps, but they target males and females differently. The team analyzed how 22 zoo-based groups of chimps and bonobos in Europe interacted. Researchers sat in front of the closure and noted each act of aggression, which ranged from shouting to physical violence that occurred throughout the day. The team spent 2 to 3 months at each zoo, recording a total of 3,243 instances of aggression from all of the apes older than 7 years. 7 is the youngest age at which researchers have recorded a bonobo male reproducing, according to Stays. They found that there were 1,368 instances of directed aggression from bonobos and 1,875 from chimpanzees. So about 500 more from chimpanzees. About a third, 1,193 of the incidences were contact aggression, meaning there was physical violence between the individuals rather than just shouting or other less violent forms of aggression. Once the data was controlled for sex, relationship, and context, there was little difference in overall aggression between chimps and bonobos. You don't find that chimpanzees are more aggressive, Stays said. Bonobos are equally aggressive. Among chimpanzees, males were mostly responsible for the conflicts. Male and female bonobos, on the other hand, were equally likely to pick a fight. There's no difference between the sexes in bonobos, which was a bit surprising to us, Stays said. However, there were differences in which sex got targeted. Male chimps were aggressive toward both females and other males, and they were also more likely to get physically violent. Female bonobos were most likely to get aggressive toward bonobo males. While there is male-male aggression in bonobos, there is seldom female-female aggression, Stays said. But bonobos are better at making up, she said, adding that in an upcoming study, the team plans to describe how the different groups resolved conflicts. There were also stark differences between the level of aggression among bonobo groups in different zoos, more so than in chimps. Our findings contribute to a growing body of evidence suggesting that behavioral patterns in Pan, including aggression, may be more influenced by group identity than by species-wide traits, the authors wrote. Zoos offer an interesting perspective on ape behavior. Some researchers argue that chimpanzees are more warlike because food was less available on their side of the Congo River, and they had to compete with gorillas for resources. Conversely, bonobos had more food and fewer predators. In zoos, these environmental factors are no longer at play. The main benefit is that you take the two species out of their ecology, and you really get the behavioral differences that are due to, for example, genetic changes that have occurred since the split from each other, Stays said. So it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting little article about how the two are different. But I found it interesting that the women rule the roost when it comes to bonobos.
I've heard that before, and I like that idea.
Yeah,
they will beat a man's ass if he needs it. But
what?
No, I'm kidding. You don't want to get out of line.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, but
aggression is never the answer. But when you're an animal.
Yeah. But and then there's also that the bonobos are quicker to make up. They're quicker to make up and make peace. So if you must own a monkey, make it a capuchin.
Yeah.
Or those little finger monkeys. Have you seen the little finger monkeys?
No, like an actual living monkey that is like the size of your finger?
It's the size of your finger. It just fits around your finger.
What? Where do you get one of those?
I have a link. I will send it to you.
I need.
Yeah. It's the cutest thing ever, Jess. It literally wraps around your finger. It's about this big. It's a little
It's
finger.
alive?
It's alive. Yeah.
What?
It's the cutest little monkey you've ever seen.
Oh, and it never gets bigger than that?
Nope.
Huh.
Yep. I keep threatening everyone around me. I'm getting a little finger monkey. I know it sounds horrible.
Monkeys as pets in Minnesota, or do I need to move?
You have to have, there's a couple of different licenses, but yeah, you can't have a monkey as a pet here.
All right.
Yeah. In fact, our friends at Intrigue Theater have Frankie the monkey as their pet, but he's also an entertainer. So they have to have different licenses for Frankie. But
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to get me a finger monkey for all 10 of my fingers.
So you'd have 10 monkeys.
Yeah, 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed.
Then how would
that was a book I used to read to Logan.
That's right. Well, I know that one too. But how would you type then if you had 10 finger monkeys?
I would teach them to type.
All right.
I would just sit here and dictate.
Now, if you had 10 finger monkeys going at it at the same time, would you eventually produce Shakespeare?
Well, yeah. I mean, Stephen King at the very least.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With that being said, what are the 10 finger monkeys going to be up to this year?
Well, me and my finger monkeys are just laying low for a little bit.
I see. Yeah.
No events to speak of right now, but writing a book or 2 or 3.
If Bananas Were Bananas, I have a feeling is the name of the next book that's coming out. Yeah. I think that's the next one from the publisher. I got a feeling. You know what's going to happen, Jess, is your publisher is going to find out that you have 10 finger monkeys, and they're going to demand 40 books next year. That's what's going to happen.
Oh.
4 books out of each finger monkey.
Oh, then me and my finger monkeys are going to disappear.
Yeah, it's going to have to happen.
Going on a vacation.
Yep.
Somewhere tropical with bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Cabana Boys.
Bananas and Cabana. Well, that's hard to say. Bananas and Cabana Boys. That's an album in itself right there. Bananas and Cabana. I can't even say it. Bananas and Cabana Boys.
Bananas and Cabana Boys.
That's a hard thing to say.
It's my autobiography.
Bananas and Cabana Boys. It's easier to say Cabana Boys and Bananas. Cabana Boys and Banana Hammocks. That ought to be the name of your autobiography.
Oh, all right. I'm typing this out so I don't forget.
You're welcome. You can have that one for free, my friend.
Thank you. I'll give you a byline.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Tomorrow on the big program, Mally Fox is in for Supernatural News. And Thursday, I'm going to leave it as a bit of a surprise. Yeah. A little bit of a paranormal potpourri, if you will.
Ooh, I love potpourri.
Potpourri. So that's this week, and lots of good stuff on the horizon. You know, I already got a commitment already from Miss Caitlin Rother to come back in June.
Yay!
Yeah. So lots of good stuff coming up, especially towards summer. We've got lots of good stuff coming up. Not that we don't have good stuff coming up in the next month or so, but yeah, lots of good stuff coming up for True Crime Tuesday coming up towards summer. Lots of good books coming out.
Oh, you keep filling my bookshelf up with these good books. Listen to the interviews and then I buy.
Yeah, it's getting a little crowded over there. Yeah, that's good though. That's good. All right, a couple of reminders before we take off today. 1, get your True Crime Tuesday swag, whether it be hoodies, shirts, whatever it may be. darknessradioshow.com, go get them there. 2, I know I keep saying the Apple app's going to be ready any day now. Eventually I'll hear from my developer. I don't know. I think Binder has them tied up somewhere. But we'll get that thing up and running. Look for your update. It should be sometime this week. And I think that's it. So for Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for continuing to listen to and watch the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.